Okay. So if we can get this going. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. All right, let's see. So I'm done. Not having it, I don't know the problem. It's not working. The iPad either. Sometimes Candace had to send a link to herself when she was on her phone. So I don't know. YouTube, right? Because it's not putting your live online. It's not sending notifications. Yeah, my YouTube should be. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Well, that sucks. Hmm. Let's see if that works. There you are.
That wouldn't let me get in through YouTube. I had to paste it, put it into the search engine, it came up with the error code again, and it said at the very top of an open hangout. So I hit that, and it come up with join the call. So I haven't a clue what's going on.
Oh, I really don't know.
That is weird.
Oh no! And if my YouTube isn't sending out notifications, then
No, it didn't tell me that you were live. I had to log into the lounge to find you.
What plants do for you?
well, someone earlier said that they just happened to be searching it. She never got a notification either. Nicole A, hello. She says hello, Bam.
Hey, how are you?
Oh well, I was hoping Julie Brown and them would be back.
Well, if it's not sending out notifications, you know what I mean? You're going to be a bit STUFFED.
That's all right. That's okay. We can entertain Nicole.
Yeah, we can do that.
We can do that.
I
Well,
think about YouTube tonight because it just don't seem to be right here.
mm But I know Julie and someone else was wanting murder mystery, and I said, "Well, I'll tell you the truth, I forgot." But I said, "Bam's got lots of stories."
Well, if they come back in, we can certainly do that. I'll pick something that we can chatter about.
Yeah.
Really don't know what the problem is.
mm I don't know, but oh well, we can talk amongst ourselves. Y'all get out there and vote tomorrow. Not that anybody's watching, but still, get out there and vote. Do your civic duty. Vote.
Is this local elections?
It's called midterm elections.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my state, it's not the same for all states, but like in my state, we vote for our governor, senators, and stuff like that.
Got you.
So, and then they got local.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
What's, what's funny is I know the local like councilmen and stuff. I actually know them. They're my age. They're friends I either went to school with or just friends I hung out with, and it's like really,
mm-hmm.
really, come on now.
I know
My
it's.
family knows your family. What is the problem? Why do you have to be such an asshole, Patrick?
I went to school with a guy who was really, really stupid. He could not excel at school. And he looked me up on Facebook a couple of years ago. You want to see the messages that he sent? His spellings are perfect, syntax perfect. And I'm thinking, you were an absolute, not at school. And you want to see he's so eloquent now. I think it's unbelievable.
The secretary. Well, I was one of those kids in high school that I was the teacher torment, the class clown, and everything like that, and class hot rod, and blah blah blah, and everybody thought I was an idiot, blah blah blah. And here it was, I was just freaking bored because all my books were new,
Mm-hmm.
and they still cracked when you open it. In the same way in college,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a 3.82 in college, so and all my books cracked when you opened them. I was just bored.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same thing. Free samples, hello. Free samples is going to give us some free samples.
Okay.
I hope it's free samples of M&Ms or something.
Yeah, that'll do.
I could go for like I don't know. I haven't had a cooked meal in like 3 days. I'm sick of it already.
I don't feel too good myself, so. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with YouTube tonight. It's very strange.
It's the moon. Let's blame it on the moon. I'm dead serious. There's some shit going on out in space that I've got to pay attention to because there's some major shit going on in space, and there's some crap that passed the Earth, and they are keeping a hush hush on this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which is partly why I think that why they took that tower out or shut that one telescope down, and could very well be something there.
Well, did you see what happened in Jerusalem? Was it Jerusalem a couple of days ago? The snake came out the holy wall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a prophecy. It's a Jewish prophecy for the snake to be chasing a pigeon. And as long as the pigeon remains in the church grounds, the snake can't get her. Well, it was a female pigeon, was flying away, and the snake came out the wall after the pigeon. So she went up, and the pigeon's not left the church.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're all like they're saying this is prophecy, and then there's been the red cow has been born as well.
Oh yeah, I know about the red cow. Yeah.
Well, it's in the same place. The snake and the pigeon. Look it up whenever we're done here. You'll find it interesting. But they're saying that this is prophecy. We're coming on to end of days. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm like, this place is rotten, and let's give the animals a chance.
Well, when you're sitting there and you're at the wall,
Mm,
and a big chunk of the wall falls, and I mean, I had pictures of it where the chunk of the eastern wall fell like 5 feet from this guy,
hmm.
just barely misses him. I mean, this was not a small chunk. We're talking a chunk like this.
Yeah.
Came out of the wall. I
Well, it's weird.
mean, that thing's been there since what?
Beginning of days.
Yeah, well, no, 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 because they had to totally rebuild it, and the outer wall's been there since when? Since I forget. I'm not going to say the exact time because I really forget the exact time. And that's the only part of any part of the temple that was there
Hmm.
was this outer wall, and and there was no earthquake, no nothing, no trembling, none. This piece just fell, and I'm like,
Yeah. Who was the dude?
It was just somebody who was praying at the wall.
Oh, well, he was praying. Well, I don't know then. Well, yeah, this is this prophecy about this pigeon and the snake. And the snake should
That's
have the holy wall anyway, should it?
well, there are holes in the holy wall. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Anything can get up in there. I've never heard the prophecy of the pigeon and the snake, but the red cow, yeah, I knew the red cow was born.
Yeah. Well, it's still alive.
Oh yeah,
And the
no,
pigeon.
it's so alive, and
It,
it's perfect.
well, it happened last week, so you'll find lots of it online to read about. But I were reading it and thinking, yeah, well, we're getting lights in the sky, we're hearing noises, there's prophecies that are starting to come to pass. I think that we need to start accepting that maybe this really is, you
Well,
know.
there's two things that had to happen
Mm,
before prophecies can come true. And they've been saying for centuries, this, but there's one thing. There's actually two things that had to happen because the Jews lost control of not only of the Temple Mount, they
mm-hmm,
lost control of Jerusalem,
mm-hmm.
and so that was taken over by the Turkey, and then I think Turkey sold it to whoever, the Muslims or whatever. Well, in 1948, I think it was 1948. The Jews got back Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Well, they got back Israel, I should say. They lost control of Israel. They got it back in 1948. Now, in 1967 or 69, it was a year before or after I was born, they got back Jerusalem, but they got back all but the Temple Mount.
Mm-hmm.
That is still under control of the Muslim religion. And so they got back everything except for the mount. So those two things control of Israel and control of Jerusalem had to happen. Now, there are how do I want to put this? After that happened, it tells you in the Bible when Jesus said, until these things come to pass, don't worry about it. Just live your life. But when the time comes, look in the sky, look up, and you'll see it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is where, Michael D, hello. This is where it gets really complicated because it involves more than just a linear translation of the Bible. This is when you need to know your math. This is where you need to know your astronomy. This is when you need to know your history. And this is when you need to pray.
Mm-hmm.
Because look up can mean several things. And there is a Jewish word for it where you can take one line and it has like 12 meanings.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, like with the Bible, you can read it and you can understand you can get to the point where you can understand what it says just on black and white value of what it is. And then you learn more and more. And then that same sentence will change its meaning. Not that it's wrong, not that it's wrong at all. You're just able to understand better. And then you can go back and read a passage where that sentence is in. And then you're going to understand a little more.
Yeah.
Because you're learning more. And it's like, that's why I said learning the Bible is like peeling back an onion.
Yeah.
There's all these layers. So when Jesus said, look up, he meant it in several ways. First, you're going to be able to see him come back when the time comes for him to come back. And why people are scared to death of that, I have no idea.
Because they're sinners.
Well, we're all sinners.
We
are all sinners.
I'm not. I don't commit any sins.
We all commit sins. That's why you should always forgive. Because God and Jesus will forgive you the same measure as you forgive others.
I know.
And if you don't forgive and if you have resentment, then that'll count against you in the end.
Forgive us our sins.
Forgive us our sins. No.
Lead us not into temptation. I know.
But what I'm saying is when it comes for judgment, he says, I will forgive you with the same measure as you forgave your fellow man. So there you go. He didn't say those exact words, but
I'm going to say, look, God, I get that. I understand what you're saying, but you're holy and I'm not.
No, I'm not holy either. Why?
No, not you. What I'm saying to God.
Oh yeah, God is holy. I'm not, and I'm not. Our thing is, we struggle to be that way, but he knows we're not going to hit it. Are you serious?
But there's
we're not sentient like he is. We're not omniscient.
No.
Like he is. So, but when he also said, look up to the sky, this is where you need to know your astronomy. It's in the Jewish tradition, although I did not plan on having a Bible study today. It is in the Jewish tradition that the whole entire history of the universe, the past, present, and future, is in the stars.
Yeah.
And the Jewish have it right. Although it is confusing as crap, as much as I like to think I know. Oh my God, I sat there and read that and I was trying to follow it. And I'm like, it's too much for even me. So apparently the Lord said, it's not time for you to learn that yet. But I do know some. I do know some.
Go.
And so you have to learn your astronomy. And it's all right there. It really is all right there. And that's what I said. Even the pagans are not truly wrong. But they're not right either. Yeah. And so neither is all these different so-called religions, which you should not have a religion. It's not a religion. It's not. God is not a religion. He's truly not. And that's why I don't believe in in religion, because
Oh,
it's not
it's really,
religion,
yeah.
it traps you more than it frees you. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the word of God, the actual word of God, frees you. It's the man-made shit that sucks, and that's what I go after. I go after the man-made. They can come at me all they want. I have yet to lose a religious discussion with anyone my parents have brought me in front of, or anyone that has said, Les. Though they used to call me and say, Les, you need to get over here. So and so is doing this, and we need you. And I'm like, why? And they said, because they're doing this religious bullshit. And I'm like, oh my God. I said, I love to go after them people, but I just walk in and half the time they shut up because they know.
Yeah.
I've never lost one. I've never lost one. Just like my dad, there was one time we were at Christmas time, and they always brought out the silver and the china and the gold and the crystal and the best of the best. And I asked him one time, I said, Dad, if Jesus was supposed to be humble and poor, which that's misconception. Jesus was never poor. Growing up, he wasn't poor until he walked off.
Mm-hmm.
Because carpenters made a lot of money because the wood was scarce. You had to know what you were doing.
Yes.
Carpenters were not poor back then. They were not. So, anyway, and they were respected. But anyway, I said, if Jesus, of course, when you're a young teen, 10, 12 years old, Dad, if Jesus was a poor carpenter, then why do we have our gold and stuff? And he said, because you want to bring the best towards for God, for Jesus. And I said, but I even questioned then. I questioned all my life. I said, but Dad, that isn't what he says he wants.
Mm-hmm.
When he talks of riches, he doesn't talk of earthly riches. He talks of riches in heaven.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk about this earthly bullshit. So that's why I'm like, look, if Jesus came to the door, knocked on my door, and he was hungry, he'd be happy to get food off a paper plate and drink out of a paper cup.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you his chalice at the Last Supper was wood, was not gold.
Yeah.
It was wood. Sylvia Martinez, hello.
Right, listen, how many people are in the chat?
Well, there was 11 watching, and there's only been 3 that said hi, so.
Right, that's okay. I just wondered because my chat it's like there's nobody at all talking. The last comment I see is some Sylvia.
Yeah, that was it.
All right, okay. Your notification didn't go out. That's the whole problem.
Yeah, but you and I still talk and have fun, and
Oh
maybe
yeah,
we'll watch
yeah.
it later.
A shame those girls that were in before. Do you
Yeah,
wonder why it's not sending your notifications out? That's weird.
I don't know. I
Do
don't
you know
know.
what I would suggest you do when you log off? Just reload in again. Put your password in and your.
Yeah,
Do you do that every time?
just this time I did because I've had my computer on for a couple days.
I wonder what's going on. There's something weird going on with it tonight.
I don't know. Suey says, I like what you're talking about. And Tracy Marie says, I'm back too. No notification.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey girls, and thank you. Yeah, I didn't get a notification either times, and it won't let me join Hangouts. I had to sneak by it. I had to do it sneaky. Um,
Oh.
I basically had to trick the computer into letting me in. Hey
Cindy
Cynthia,
said, I'm here. Sorry I'm late. The baby was crying again. Oh, Cynthia. Are
how's
you
your
getting...
leg, dear?
Yeah, how's your knee? She didn't get a notification on either stream tonight.
No, and they won't let me in, Cynthia. I had to trick it to let me in. It's I'm annoyed now. Don't like that. I'm a creature of habit.
Well, anyway, to go on with what we were talking about,
Yeah.
um, to So I don't know why um, people make more of things than what they are. They should make more of things, but not the way that they're doing it.
Yes,
Like, if you're going to tell the story, you've got to tell the whole entire story and the truth of it. Just like I would love to tell the true story of the nativity. People would shit a brick if they knew the true story of it. And the thing of it is, and I would do this at Christmas, and I can do it again at Christmas. I don't care. But it would really turn a lot of people off
mm,
because you got to understand back then,
mm.
Joseph and Mary were just Joseph and Mary. Nobody gave a shit about their kid,
Yeah, of
you
course.
know. And there's a lot of poetic license or a lot of, you know, Kathy Rebuilds. Hello, like when they do the stories, like King of Kings and Jesus of Nazareth and the story of Mary and Joseph. There's a lot of creative licenses that's being taken throughout the thing
Of
because they
course.
want it to be more than what it is.
Stories are
It's-
glamorized to get people interested in them, Les. You know,
right.
stories
But
glam.
truthfully and honestly, like I tell people, Jesus is older than what we're being told.
Mhm.
And all it takes, and this is why I tell people, and this has always been part of when I was doing my ministry, is to get people to think. So, oh, hello, Liz. How you doing? I'm doing good. Hello. Cynthia says knees still swollen. Tell Bam thank you for asking and hello.
Hey, sweet pea.
So Jesus is older.
Mm.
We were taught that Jesus died on the cross at 33, and we didn't know anything about his that. And it is true though. Hi, Bam. Love your hair and your band.
Oh, thank you. I'm not feeling very well tonight, Sylvia. I wanted to do my hair, but I'm gonna have to wait. I don't feel too well.
Yeah, my butt don't feel too good either.
Oh, I don't. I felt bad all day, Les, and it's getting steadily worse.
Mm,
Fed up with this. I really am. I'm so sick of being sick.
mm.
Anyway, shut up, Bam. Go on, Les. Sorry,
I
carry
need
on.
a feeling. No,
Jesus
I was just
was
saying,
died at 33, but he was a lot older. Yes.
and it is true. We only really know about, and that's being generous, 3.5 years of his life.
Yeah.
And that's just parts of 3.5 years of his life. We don't know what happened in between here and there because there's a lot of traveling that goes on. We don't know what happened along the way and this and that. But think about it. We know for a fact, and I've said this I don't know how many times, we know for a fact that Herod, who ordered the death of Jesus, of that baby, we know for a fact he died in 4 BC. That's a fact. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus was already born by then. So Jesus was at least 1 or 2 years old. And they say, how can you know that? Because Jesus was not a brand new baby when they fled Nazareth. I mean, when they fled Bethlehem to go to Egypt, he was not. There was a lot of time lapse through there. It wasn't that the angel came and said, you got to go in the morning and you got to go now.
Mm.
No, the angel did come to Joseph and said, you're going to have to get ready to go when the time has come. Because they're not going to put Mary's health or Jesus' health in jeopardy,
Mm.
you know. Um, but it didn't happen when he was a brand new newborn baby either. It did not happen.
Well, like I said,
And so he's at least 4 to 6 years old at the very least. But Herod did not die until Jesus was in Egypt. The world coming to an end.
I Les, I'm not like I have my own faith, as you know, and I pray to God, but
I know, but I'm just telling you, and I'm
no,
telling
I'm
those that
not
are listening.
disagreeing with you. But I do genuinely believe that Jesus married Mary Magdalene. I don't believe
Well,
that.
okay. Well, I haven't gotten to that point yet.
Oh, right, we're going there.
I haven't
Okay.
gotten there yet. I'm
Went
telling the
for
story of the nativity. I'm telling the story of the nativity. Is the world coming to an end, Les? I
Yes.
can't say.
Yes, it is.
But
Yes.
Van, will you let me get to that? I
Yeah,
will get
telling
to
them yes. Go on.
that. I will answer that in a second. Right now, I'm telling the story of Nativity. So, and everybody, it's not like everybody had cars back then.
That's right.
They traveled. So when the three magi came, the three kings, we three kings of Orient are sharing gifts. We travel so far. I do like that song. Well, anyway, so when they came, they stopped by. They weren't going to, but they ended up stopping by Herod's palace in Jerusalem because they were pretty much ordered to. GC, hello. It is, but I have to explain it, Sylvia. So I'll get to that. Um, so this exchange went on between them, and back then, when you visited palaces and heads of state from other countries and stuff like that, you just didn't stay for a couple hours. They were there for a couple weeks, and then they had to go. So they were following this star, but they had a huge caravan. You don't go far in a day with a huge caravan. Okay. So it took them even more weeks to get to where Bethlehem was. Jesus was already older, by then. So when they left, they bypassed Herod. Herod got pissed. A lot of things happened in between them getting back to Herod and Herod ordering the deaths of children because he said he wanted to be safe. So he said, first he said 2 and under, kill all children 2 and under. Then he said, I need to be safe 4 and under. Well, he was still alive. He hadn't died yet. Okay. So that makes you think Jesus is at least 2 to 4 years before this order was given.
Hmm.
Or else he would have said any newborn baby that's 6 months or younger. He wasn't brand new. It had been a while. And that's when they're saying, okay, it's time to go. Well, they left. They were way on their way to Egypt by then. And that's when the slaughter of the children came. But people think there was slaughter of the children. There was thousands of children that were slaughtered, and there wasn't. No child slaughtered by a sword is good. One is too many. Let me rephrase that. One is too many to begin with. But in all actuality, there was like 25 kids, according to the census back then.
Hmm.
And they took census back then.
Hmm.
So there's only about 25 kids. Either way, Herod did a big boo-boo. What an asshole. But Jesus and them were on their way to Egypt by then. And he spent, I forget how many years, they were in Egypt a few years before Herod died. It was because Herod died, when they got news of Herod's death, that they came back. So Herod, we know, died in 4 BC. We know that. Lisa, hello. So Herod died in 4 BC. So Herod, and they were already in Egypt, and it was a while. So Jesus was not 33. He was much older.
Hmm.
He was much older. He died in the year 33 AD, but he was not 33 years old. He was not.
Hmm. Yeah, that's where they've got it mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
The glamorized stories to make them more attractive and believable to people.
It was a bloody time. It really was.
I would believe it. I weren't there myself. Me and my iPhone weren't around. Or I would say she's telling the truth. I've got video evidence of this. I was there. I seen it.
Yeah.
Shite in the streets they were. The dirty hellions.
And like Sylvia's asking, is the world coming to an end, Les? Well, some believe yes, some believe no. It just depends on what you believe. But like I said, those that are afraid of it, why would they be afraid of Jesus coming back? Wow, I didn't know that, Les. Yeah. And it pretty much tells you there in the Bible, it's just that because people won't read and think for themselves, because for thousands of years people have been told, first of all, a lot of people couldn't read, and then when they started to read, it was not for a lowly person to read the Bible because it's holy. It's a book. It's a collection of 63 books. That's what the Bible is. I know I put my pen markings in it and highlight, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're marking up the Bible," and I was like, "I can go get another one." It hasn't been blessed. It's not handwritten by God Himself. God did not come down like they did with the Ten Commandments and write it with His finger. I said this is from the Oxford Press. You know, that's who did this. You know, it tells you pretty much right there in the Bible, pretty much. But you got to know your history with it. You really have to know your history. So it's one of those things. Now, is the world coming to an end? Like I said, why would people be afraid? All it is Jesus coming back, and the world is not going to die. The world will continue, believe it or not. The world will continue. It's just scary when you talk of supernatural things. And it's so funny because people will believe in UFOs, but they will not believe in God. It's really weird. But there's things that had to happen. One was the Jews had to get control back of Israel. Well, that happened in the 40s. And then the Jews had to get control of back of Jerusalem. Well, they did, except for Temple Mount. Night of the Living Dead. Hello, everyone. Hello, beautiful Lisa and Bam Bam in chat. Hello. I'm Les. How you doing? So it just happens, those two things had to happen. Now, I do know the Bible well enough to where Jesus does give us our days. He does tell us. It's in the book of Daniel. But there's other things that have to happen with it. And when you see those other things that happen, then you'll know when it will start. First of all, wow, I love to learn. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. First of all, there's a couple wars that have to happen over in the Middle East and stuff like that. And they have not come to pass yet. It's not the ones that are happening. When those wars come to pass, then after that starts the 7 years of tribulation. Now, everybody thinks tribulation is going to be this awful, terrible thing the whole entire time. And it's not. It's not. And Jesus does give you the amount of days and what's going to happen when. And if you read it, during the first 3.5 years of tribulation are going to be good for everyone. Are going to be good for everyone. Totally. And they're like, well, it's supposed to be tribulation. Well, there will be. But Mantra, hello. Hey, Les, why have you been so inactive? I haven't. I have been inactive as far as live streams, but behind the scenes, I've not been inactive at all. I've not. So I just haven't been doing as many live streams, and especially at night, just whenever. But 3.5 years are going to be good because the Antichrist will be in charge, and he has to fool everyone. He has to be the world peacemaker, and that's how I know. My mom thinks, well, there's a thing called, the rapture. She thinks it's going to happen at the very beginning, and no Christian will ever see any part of the tribulation. I was like, Mom, you're silly. I said, all I got to do is read Daniel. We're going to see it. Jesus even tells us about it. But that's how we're not going to know who the Antichrist is. I already know who the false prophet's going to be. If I can't say who, because it will really spark a major thing. But he's already here, false prophet. It's the Antichrist. Now, there's a couple contenders, but who we don't know until these other things happen. Now, whether it happens in our lifetime, I don't know. I have a feeling it will be, you know. Um, but it does say in the Bible that once the Jerusalem thing happened, that generation shall not pass before he comes back. And my mom's part of that generation. She's still here. They're not all gone. We're still here. We're not gone. So, I can go deeper and deeper into it, but it'll just cause such a ruckus. Les, where's the false prophet from? Well, the false prophet, it's not necessarily where the false prophet is from. It's from where the Antichrist will be from. So the Antichrist will be a peacemaker. Yes, he will. He has to. He has to be a peacemaker. He will come in with the help of the false prophet. He will come in with the help of the false prophet, who is supposed to be, they speculate he's supposed to be from Italy, but I don't think so. I don't know. Who knows? Unless now I'm getting scared and I shouldn't. You know what? I'm not scared at all. I don't understand. Tiffany C, hello. So it's not, like I said, it's the Antichrist will be, he has to be a peacemaker because he's got to get the world to love him. Yeah, don't be scared. Don't be scared. But he has to bring about world peace. People will be living good. People will he will actually initiate and say, okay, let's start building the temple, because that temple has to be built. The temple has to be built. They already have the cornerstone of the temple. They already have it. And they already have all of what is supposed to go in the temple. They already have all of that. Hey, Liz, my friend, how are you? Jenny Hansen, hello. I'm doing good. How are you? So how do we know the real prophet? Trump is not the Antichrist. He's stupid. No, he's not the no. Because I can explain that, but the real prophet is going to take a moment for me to explain all of that. Tiffany C. Liz, some do those. Some do what, Tiffany? Some do what, Tiffany? I don't know. But the reason for the Antichrist, the real prophet, will be smooth with everyone. He will be slick. And he's already started. So, he has to bring. Oh, Trump is not the Antichrist. Are you kidding? The Antichrist will actually be extremely handsome. He will be young. He won't be old. He won't be 60 or something like that. He'll be young. He's going to be very charismatic. He's going to be extremely he'll be very handsome. He's going to be extremely knowledgeable. And he's the one that initiates the building of that temple, because it has to be built. That temple has to be built. because he's got to come out of it declaring himself God. So, and the false prophet will actually, he will be charismatic, which he is, and he will, whether people like it or not, and they can hate me for it, but he will lead people astray under the guise of religion. So I've never seen you in this room. This is my office. This is my office. So it's a very controversial, but the truth's the truth. All you gotta do is read. So I'm sorry, I don't know too much about this Bible stuff. What temple? Um, the temple, the actual temple that goes on the Temple Mount. Um, exactly, Alan. It's the Pope. It is. I'm sorry. It is. Um, you know how people do suck you in? Yeah. Um, it is a very hard thing to wrap your head around unless you have studied the Bible. Exactly. You know, and it's to me it flows, but you know, Linnell Sorg, hello. And also, what about that Black Pope they always talked about? Seems like talks about that. I never heard of there having to be a Black Pope. There was one that was up for contention. There really was. There was one that was because there was one up. There was a list of them, and there was one, but he wasn't picked. The right one was picked because let's face it, in a secular sense, this Pope here, you gotta love him. I mean, he's just like, hey. I mean, you got to give the guy kudos when he can just walk out of the Vatican, nobody knows, and he just goes to church. I mean, let's face it. They're like, where the hell did he go? Well, here he is in church, dressed normal. I mean, you gotta like the guy. Hey, Leslie, we do Bible study. My husband is agnostic, but does not disagree with teaching my kids the way I agree. As long as when they're older, he can teach them his beliefs. There, you know, teach his own. That's the way I say. I mean, you know, it's to me it all flows, but when you're in it for so long, and it's really people make the Bible harder than what it is. But then again, and in some ways, it is harder than what it looks like. But for the general knowledge, um, for general knowledge, people make it so hard. They do. Um, because it's man stuff. It's the man stuff that puts all these constraints on you, you know. And just like within a Catholic religion, and of course, like I said, I can speak intelligently on it because I was immersed in it for so many years. You can't be any more immersed in the Catholic religion than what I was. And Tiffany, see, what does he believe in? He's into agnosticism. So Catholic Church is a very wealthy church, and they keep their secrets. Yes, they keep it very well. You just have to know some people, but they do keep it very well. But just like the Catholic religion, at one point, they were pretty much teaching you can get into heaven by just doing works and buying your way in, and it doesn't work like that. It's just like Paul said, works without faith means nothing, and faith without works means nothing. But once you take it into your heart, and you just automatically, when you truly take it in your heart, you just automatically know what to do, you know. But only if people can be kind and just have a discussion. That's just it. A lot of people can't just have a discussion. I usually don't talk religion or politics. I really don't. I really, really don't. But I'm a Christian, and that's the way I believe, and that's the only talk I'll have. I'm sorry. I want all that stuff to happen already. The world needs to change. Well, it'll happen soon enough, but the thing of it is, have you ever thought that maybe changing your own little world around you? I've always said it takes one person. There goes Bam, she left me. Maybe she'll come back. I hope. It only takes one person. Change your world around you. It only takes one. Just like there's 23 people viewing now. Well, I hope you come back, Big Bam Bam. Because Bam does have her side, and I am going to let her speak her side. So, you know. But I understand where she's coming from, and I understand where Gnostic's coming from. I do understand where they're coming from. He believes in science. It knows there is something out there, not necessarily God, but perhaps a letter. Yeah, I hope Bam comes back. Liz, you cannot make everyone happy. I know I can't. I know I can't make everyone happy. But people think I'm stupid too, so
I got booted. I don't know
and
what's
I'm
wrong
not.
tonight.
What?
I got booted.
That's all right. So, Bam, you tell your side
What about a religion?
about it.
I don't
Either not letter.
I believe. I just don't have any theories. I'm not educated enough on it, so I don't feel comfortable saying too much, Les. It's not my forte. It really isn't. Yeah, I definitely believe. I do. I'm devout Christian, I would say, but my own personal beliefs are probably not what everyone else would believe, and I, I don't know. I really don't know. Um, that I can say anything that anybody's going to want to hear. Like I say, I'm not in the slightest bit educated in religion, so I wouldn't feel comfortable giving my opinion on one thing or the other. You know, that's just it.
One thing of it is, it's your opinion, just like mine.
You're an ordained minister, though. I'm not. You
But
know,
it doesn't matter.
I've never spent any time studying the Bible. I'll be honest with you now. Sorry, God, I find it boring. I do find the Bible boring. It's got too many words in it. It contradicts itself, and it jumps. It's very hard to follow.
Oh,
Um,
go
and
ahead.
you've got nowadays, there's so much greed and technology in the world. It's very hard to get people to sit down now and want to study the Bible and want to listen to what the Bibles and the churches tried to say. We've got organized religion, which wants money. And that's what they do want. It boils down to money. You've got the Vatican, which is the richest thriving corporation in the world. It's not about that to me. But again, when a man can feel okay about taking £10,000 to go and kill another human being that he doesn't know, you know what I mean? The Bible to me, it's a big failure because people are doing this kind of thing, and there's too much greed. There's too much greed in the world nowadays. So it doesn't matter if Christ was 33 or 43 or 47 or 3. There's just so much greed and so much selfishness, and we're taught that now. Nobody, there's no moral compass anymore.
And
There's
you're
no
blaming that on the Bible?
no, I'm not saying it's to do with the Bible. I'm saying that there's so much technology now. Kids are going to want to play on an iPad. They don't want to go and read the Bible. I'm being honest with you,
Oh
Les.
yeah, I know this. I blame it on the parents.
I do find it boring. And that weren't my parents' fault, though. That were my fault. I couldn't get into it. I tried so hard, but it just, I found my mind drifting. I could not, I couldn't hold my attention. And I felt very guilty about that, but that's me. And and nowadays, yes, you've got the temptation. Yes, Jesus, he resisted temptation for all the days in the desert. I know, but we're not holy. Jesus was a holy person. We're not. You say to a kid, here, right, look, I want you to read this Bible and don't be playing any computer games. They'll be like, fuck off, I'm going to play them computer games. I'm not reading that. And I think we've come so far as a species now. We're very, it's all about self, and it's all about money, and it's all about what you can show and coveting and what you can get next. And I don't know. I really do think we need to start again. So, do you know what I mean? My opinions are not going to be popular with people at all. And I'm guilty of things too. Like I'm sitting here pontificating at the minute, but you say to me, would you like to have that dress, or would you like me to donate £50 to the church? I'd say I want the dress. Give me that dress. I'm not giving that money to the church. I want that. So I know I've got faults as a human, but I just think that we've taken the moral compass out of education. We don't have enough punishment, and people nowadays, murder is on the up. The murder rate is going up. Again, it's an education thing because we're not taught to regret anything that we do, and other people are disposable. So the Bible has either got to be, it's got to be rewritten.
No, it
You know,
doesn't.
that's what I'm saying though, Les. We've got to start again. It's either got to be rewritten or we've got to start again because we've come so far as a species. They don't believe it. They want
But
proof.
what does all that have to do with the Bible and what is written when it tells you in the Bible how to deal with it?
I've told you it's
But the
boring.
thing, it's not boring.
It's
I
just
don't find it, well, I don't find it boring in honestly, the Bible does flow. It does flow. I don't see
for
where you,
you. It didn't for me. I found I can't read it. I can't absorb it. It's boring. So what do we do? Do we have the second coming and God updates the Bible? Or do we start again? I don't know, but I'm admitting my failings as a human being, but
oh,
I
that's
do
fine.
find a boring book. There's too many words in it. It's repetitive. And then I just, do you know what I mean? It's just, it's not a good subject to get me on because I've got really fucked up views about things, and not everybody agrees me. As a Christian, I'm accepting that there's an element of supernatural, and as a scientist, I can see where we've gone wrong. But I don't think Christianity is the way to put it right. That's just me. That's just my opinion.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I, I'm sorry you feel that way, but, but then again, that's your opinion. That's what you think. And there's nothing anybody can do or say to change your mind. And that's fine. I know when to cut my losses on that. But,
The root of it all, in my opinion, it began
well,
that all.
that's where you have the thing between good and evil. That's the struggle, and that's been there since the beginning of time.
Yeah, I understand that completely. I really do understand what you're saying. But the sinner that'll sit and eat like a king nightly,
Mm-hmm.
um, getting his money whatever way he wants, and the Christian that's starving, and eventually his body gives up because he goes into organ failure because he can't afford his medication, and he can't control maybe his diabetes or his heart disease, and and he's also starving, so he's ulcerating outside and inside too. Where did the Bible get him? Where was God when he needed him? And then you've got, as I say, there's the crime bastard that he don't care about anybody else. He's greedy and he's getting whatever he likes, and he doesn't give a flat fuck about the Bible. But the Christian will starve to death. Do you know what I mean? And this is where I get a bit. It annoys me. I get a bit. Some people will religiously follow the Bible, and their life and their outcome aren't very good. And then you see the sinner that and I know you can say, oh well, he won't get into heaven and he'll be in purgatory or he'll have to come and do it again. I understand that, but for that person that's suffering at that moment in time and starving, and you look around this world, and in Africa we have a virus that will get into children's eyes and it will start to eat their eyes from the inside out. And then when it's done with that eye, it'll go into the other eye. And these are babies. These are babies that are catching this virus from flies. What did those babies do? And where's God? God should be saying, hang on, whoa, wait. Let me sort
But
it out. You know what I mean, Les? There's
okay,
just
now let me explain it to you.
go on.
And this is how I explain when people come at me with that stuff. I listen to everything that they said, and then I tell them, what makes you think it was God?
Well,
Where now listen, listen. I listen to you.
Yeah.
What makes you think it was God? There is another force. There is another force that is going on. That is totally Lucifer. Okay. Yeah. Now, you have the force of good and the force of bad, or evil, as you want to say. And then you have a force what's called humans, who are influenced, who are in the ear, the Lucifer's people are in the ear. Lucifer's in the ear of all these people. Okay. What makes you think mankind hadn't done ourselves in on some things? Why is everything bad blamed on God?
Because
But
he's
nothing, but listen, but everything bad is blamed on God. But very rarely is good things blamed on God.
Right, I get
And it is not. God gave us all, even his angels, free will. Wendy, hello. Something to think about. It. Bam, I always think about this. How many times do we talk? God want him when we need him or things are going our way. But as soon as things don't go our way. Yeah, I understand.
But I'm not blaming God on it. I'm not saying God invented this virus. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is this gentle, loving God, the Lamb, suffer the little children that will come unto me. Why, if he's all seeing, and maybe, yes, okay, I'll give it you. It's Lucifer that's done that, and that's absolutely on him. But God has the power to fix this, which he doesn't. And, then there's people like me that
he never said he would.
Where's our cure?
He never said he would. He always said we would reap the consequences of our actions.
What did those babies do, though?
It was it, but it's not the babies. It's the humans that caused all this.
The humans.
It's not God. It's humans. We have a choice. And I'm
didn't do that.
What?
Didn't do that. That's a natural force that's happening there. It's coming from poverty and from
exactly. Now I'm going to let you know something about that poverty. Just from America alone, do you know how many billions in supplies and money that's given these countries? And
I was at
how many? Go ahead.
I know we've pumped in billions, and like I say again, I'm going back to what I originally said: money. But I have said to you, I am accepting of the supernatural element, and if he is,
you would not let me finish what I'm saying.
Well, until somebody says to me that our loving God is wiping out these illnesses, that these tiny babies that have done nothing that are suffering it. I'm not going to be thinking the Bible's the way forward, and I'm not going to be paying too much attention to living my life by it either. I'm going to
What
go,
you don't have to. You don't have to. But what I'm saying is the help has been there for them. And this is what happens. It's their governments that take control of the supplies and the money, and they do not distribute it.
mhm,
It's not like they've not been helped to help these babies. Humans, they can help as much as they can destroy.
mhm.
And the government, it's their wicked government. It's always the governments. That's why there was never, just like God never wanted a king over people, because this is what happens. You know, greed gets in the way. That's
Exactly.
not a God thing. So it's
Exactly.
not like that God hasn't provided a way for them to get it. It's that things step in to stop them.
Which I understand, but being such a loving, gentle God, when there's complete innocence that's lying there suffering in agony, would you not think, with all his magic and gentle power, that he would reach his hand down and cure that child? Jesus cured the lepers. Jesus gave back the sight to the blind. You know, these babies, and you know, Les, I'm very, very cold, you know, but at the same time, seeing these kind of diseases that are viruses, come on. If he would, you know, why won't he do that? If God did that just once, the whole world would be on their knees. They'd be like, "Oh, it's real. He's real. He's real." You know, and every
Well,
praying for.
like I said, though, God gave us all free will.
Mhm.
We have the freedom of choice. It
Yep,
was humans that decided to corrupt and bring all this shit in.
I
You're
agree.
right. It's a virus. Jesus said, I will never leave you, and he won't. But not all bad things happen to good people and vice versa,
Hmm.
you know?
I
So,
I know exactly what you're saying. And when I was at college, one of my lecturers said, "It's not war that we've got to worry about; it's viruses." And they're absolutely right.
and that's man made.
Viruses aren't man-made. Viruses are natural. It's Mother Nature is the
Why do you think it's happening though? Because of man doing what they do. If they would have left everything the way God had created it, we would
yes.
not have this stuff.
No,
But
you're
it's
right.
because of mankind
Mm-hmm,
from way back.
mm-hmm,
It's because of mankind has interfered
mm-hmm.
for one
I
reason or the other.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
agree.
all these things are around.
I
There
agree.
is shit coming out now that would not been here 200 years ago if it wasn't for man.
Some of that I'll buy scientifically, and I don't know whether I believe that or not. But what the world, it's growing, it's getting old. There's different viruses, there's different bacterias that are coming from inside the earth and from the sea and from the clouds and the rain. Yes, we've interfered with the ozone. I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. But what I'm saying is we've got to apply a bit of realism to this too. If we're expected
That
to
is
have
realism.
our choice, okay, we choose to believe and we choose to live by the rules of the Bible. I understand that. But what I'm saying is it's not war now that we need to worry about. It's viruses, it's illnesses, because the world is getting older and nature is the biggest serial killer that there ever was. And she always leaves a fingerprint. She always
Man, you're
leaves you.
saying the same thing I am. You're just
You're not letting
refusing
me
that.
finish, though. You've just said to me, let me finish. And what I'm trying to say is nature's its reason is to break down and decompose. That's it. That's what nature wants to do. It wants to break down, decompose and start again. That's nature, what it's wanting to do. And as far as I can see, nature's now starting to win. It realizes that we have polluted the planet and we're a very evil, bloodthirsty, greedy race. I know everybody in the chat room are decent people, and you're decent, Les. But the majority of the world now is toxic, and Mother Nature is trying to wipe us out. And I think that she's starting to win. Now, if we do have this gentle, loving God, which I hope that we do, I really do, maybe He should step in and give us a hand, because
He is.
we're up against it. We're losing faith. And that's not in ourselves. That's what we're supposed to believe in. You know, I can see it. That's why I said to you, I don't really want to talk about this because people don't like my fucked up opinion of this. But unfortunately, this is how I feel.
Oh, I think we're having a healthy talk, actually.
I do, but
That, and that's why I said earlier, I can't change your mind no matter what. I know when to cut my losses.
I've turned believer skeptical, and I haven't meant to do that. I have a cross tattooed on me. I wear a cross. I pray twice a day. I brought my children up as Christians, you know. I went to church up until my back got done. But, you know, to be honest with you, if God were maybe to pop into my room now with a cup of tea in his hand, he might hear a few things that he doesn't really expect to be hearing. I think that we've been let down in a way. Yes, we've got choice, but we've also got more temptation than it's probably possible to just, you know, it's impossible to choose. I think that if this, you know, if there is this gentle, loving God, then he really doesn't need to make himself known to this world and do something before it gets like complete anarchy the world over. That's what I'm frightened of.
But you've got to understand, if you understand the Bible, then you will understand Bible prophecy and everything that is happening. As much as I wish it wasn't, and as much as I still have faith in humanity, believe it or not,
Yeah.
I know things are happening and they have to come to pass. Do
Hmm.
I like it? No. But it's a consequence of what man has done.
I agree with that.
And so, but God will take care of it in time.
Yeah,
He will take care of it in his time, not when we say it should be done.
yes, I get that, Les. And right, this is the final thing I'm going to say. Every child that's born is born innocent, okay? Every single one of them. They might be predisposed to be the next Ted Bundy or the next Jory Arias.
Well, I
But
understand all that.
one second though, Les. Just when they're born into a situation where 1 minute they're a tiny innocent baby, the next thing that they've got a virus eating their eyeballs out and they're in agony and there's no pain relief and there's no comfort. That was not their choice, and that is their time. Every life, it's their time. We're hanging cows upside down and slitting their throats, and you know, for somebody to enjoy eating them. We've children lying, dying like that. Over here, we've got AIDS, cancer. You know, it's on the increase. Ebola virus, which they don't want to admit, is on the fucking increase.
Hmm.
These babies, that's their time, and it don't matter that, you know, maybe in 500 years time God does come back and everything's wonderful, but those people that have suffered horrendously, that was their time. And where was God then?
Why
That's
do you
my
keep
point.
blaming it on God?
Because he's supposed to be all seeing and suffer the little children to come unto me.
Exactly, and they do.
They fucking do. They absolutely do. What's the point to making them suffer? That's
That's
my whole.
man. That's mankind. We made our choices. Every one of us. Like when I tell everybody, go out and vote. You know, we are trying to put forth our voice into what we do and do not want.
Yeah,
And it's the politicians and all that that lie. It's those in government that lie, that don't care. They're about everything that is not holy.
I know. That's what I
And
said.
so it's not God. We are left on this earth to have free choice. We have free will.
I
And
know.
it is mankind that's done this. So if you're going to get
Mm.
mad at those in power. get mad at those that created this mess we're in.
do. I do. We don't use your platform for politics. You know, I've got extreme strong political opinions, but I'm going to agree to disagree with you, Les, because a baby doesn't have a choice. It doesn't have a choice.
Exactly, and that's mankind's fault.
But I know, but you're saying it's down to choice.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just
But
saying
but you
God gave us look, God gave us free will. It
mm,
was mankind that destroyed this place. That is destroying this place. That's mankind's choice.
up to a
And
certain
there's going to be casualties from it
up to a
in one
certain
way or the other.
up to a certain degree, it's man's choice. As I say, Mother Nature. You kill one virus, she'll make another. That's just the way nature wants to decompose. That's what nature sets out to do. It sets out to break things down, to decompose them, to start the growth all over again. It's just live, life, death, life, death. That is Mother Nature's circle of life.
And guess
So
what? And mankind gets more and more advanced with it.
exactly.
So they still
Gee,
come out with stuff that will destroy ourselves. That is the main thing. That is what the people in power want. If that's one thing that people have to understand, that there are people who are wanting one world order, meaning one currency, one religion, one language, one everything.
yeah, I
There
know.
are people who are human, and that's not a God thing. God's like, don't do that because it was tried once in the Bible. We have the Tower of Babel.
Yeah,
They were all one back then until then.
yeah,
Now, why do you think they call it babbling? Babel.
I
Why do you
know.
think there's eight there, there's so many actual languages and then you got 50 million dialects off that language. But it's like it's just what man does. And so it's up to us.
I
It's
know.
up
It's
to
up to will
mankind
believe or not.
to spread the goodness.
I
And
understand. I do. I get
but
what you.
then don't blame God for what's happening to babies.
I'm
Blame
not blaming.
mankind.
I am not blaming him in the slightest. I've not blamed God once. What I've said is I've blamed greed and I've blamed Mother Nature. And what I mean about this freedom of will and choice and what if we are supposed to blindly follow, unfortunately, technology and science has given us a lot more to believe in now than a book. And if God wants us to
Just
believe
because you can't
that
understand the
show,
book doesn't
pardon,
mean other people can.
I'm not using me. I'm using as a percentage. I'm part of a percentage of people now that do, and they're not scared to say it. The reason people don't go to church is because it's boring. You know,
Oh, yes, of course it is, because mankind made it that way.
I get you.
Just
So
saying.
we've got this wonderful magic God, right? Why doesn't he just give a sign to the world that there
Yeah.
is some positivity there? Because, Les, I'll tell you now, I lost my faith when my daughter died. There was a
Mhm.
reason for that, as you know. I was
Mm.
very angry. It only lasted a day or two. But if I had a baby that was born and was hit with this virus that started to eat it from the inside out and then go back inside and start destroying, and this child's laid in agony, I can tell you now, the last fucking thing I would be believing in would be God. Do you know what I would do? I would sell my home and I would go straight back into medical school. That's what I would do. I would not be believing. My faith I would have lost it. And it's the world is just there's little hope now. They don't believe because they've got so much other things to believe in. That's what I'm saying. If God wants us to choose to believe in him and follow his will free of our own thought process, he's got to show us that he's there. Not me, but most people. That's my point.
Friend, you done went through 15 points away from where we even started from. I'm like, huh? But I just let you go.
But that's what I said to you. You don't really want to ask me this because I've got a fucked up opinion on his goddamn.
No, I mean, we're allowed. Look, it's not like we're fighting. I think we have a healthy discussion going on both sides.
Yeah, I
Really, that's what it is. That's what it's about. If you're going to have a discussion, I hate to have people up here all the time agreeing with what I'm saying. I like a little bit of challenge and like to hear
I
other
understand
sides
you,
and
Les.
things like that. But the one thing that you and I will always disagree on is that I don't blame anything on God.
I don't blame it on God either. I'm trying.
You were though.
I'm not.
No, no,
What?
no. You were. I mean, it was sounding like you was like, where was God then? Where
Yeah,
was God then? Where was
I
God then? You're blaming it on
that.
God.
I think that God blinks his eyes on certain people. He could help and he don't. And unfortunately, when you've got people like me that devour science and can see this thing coming and think, fuck, there's nothing we can do to stop this, and it's going to do this and it's going to do that, and blah, 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 blah. You start to pray. It's like, please don't let this occur. But it does occur. And, you slowly get your belief in him being this gentle force. Because I'll say it now, I don't mind. Like, I'll say it to God too. I think he's a very cruel man, and he's contradictory too.
No, I
They're
don't think it's
they're
not
jealous, bow
contradictory.
down to false images. Then he says, "But I am a jealous God." So you're not supposed to be jealous yourself. You're supposed to follow God, but he's just admitted that he's jealous.
He is a jealous God because it's not because you believe in other gods. His jealousy comes when, look, I'm here. I'm a living God. Why are you going over to Lucifer? You know, he's a
Yeah,
jealous God. Once he gets his claws in you, he don't want to let you go. He really doesn't. But we all have free choice. You know,
I agree. I know that, and I just think
but this thing um is playing out the way it's been told it was going to thousands of years ago.
Mhm.
And to suggest it's just like what Julie Brown said at Heavenly Dad. It's just like a mom and dad, you know. Say like, all right, with my boys,
Mhm.
me and my sister, they were my sister's kids. I helped raise them all these years. Okay, I was just as much as a parent as my sister was. Cheryl was a very jealous parent. She could not stand that the boys would actually listen to me. It bothered her. But it's like just like rearing children. You have one jealous of the other. It's just what happens. And that is not a God thing. That is just nature.
Sin,
And
jealousy, envy, malice, pride. Those are
but
sins.
that he's not envious and malice or nothing like that. When he was saying by jealous God, you know, I don't want you going to Lucifer.
He did.
You
It's
know,
not explained like that. It's
it's like raising kids. It is. It's just like raising kids. Just like my sister's like, I don't want you going there. I'm a jealous parent, even though we love and think of the boys, as well. They are Cheryl's, but I think of them as my own.
yeah.
It's the same thing. I love you. This is the right way. I
Hmm.
don't want you going over there. And I'm sitting there to myself, even though I'm not a jealous person,
Hmm.
hey, I love you. I want this and this and this for you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It
Mm.
doesn't necessarily mean green with envy or anything like that. Danette, hello.
I get you. I get you, but it's written in a contradictory manner. Then there should be
No,
more.
it's not. There's nothing contradictory about it.
Well,
You just have
yes,
to
there
you
is.
have to understand
It,
it. But
uh-huh.
this is what I'm not understanding. Okay, this is what I'm not understanding.
Hmm.
I respect how you feel, and then, like I said, we're having a healthy debate, which I love. I love a healthy debate. I
Yes.
really do, and still have respect.
Yes. Well, of course, we're not going to fall
Oh
out.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
you're a bitch. No, you're a bitch. No, you're a bitch. No, 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 you're a bitch. We're not going to do that. But I told you, I've said to you several times, you don't want to start me on this or on
No, no,
politics.
no, no. I love
I
it.
don't like it.
I love it. Well, they're not like me either, so there you go. But this is what I don't understand.
Grr.
How can you sit there and explain and tell me how you think the Bible is boring? You never really studied it. It's too many words. You didn't understand it.
Yes.
This and that, and blah, blah, blah. And then tell me
Mhm.
the true meaning of what the Bible means.
Because I did my best. I told you, I
Exactly. You did your best,
did
but
my
you
best.
just got done sitting there saying all these bad things about the Bible that it needs to be rewritten.
Yeah,
First of all, you can either add to or take away from God's word. That's also in the Bible. Do not do that. That's a
I
no-no.
I
But
know what
how
you're
can you
saying.
sit there and say all these bad things and then try to tell somebody exactly what scripture means?
What scripture means. I'm not trying to tell them what scripture means. I'm
There
saying those are contradictory statements, and I'm not
there
trying
is no
to decipher
contradiction.
the Bible or explain what it's supposed to mean. I told you I do my own thing. I pray twice a day, and I used to go to church when I could. Although I found it boring, I still went. I just feel now that I've got such a grasp on mortality and science and what I'm seeing in the world now. I don't think that faith alone is enough. I
It's
really,
not.
God needs
And
to give people something back, Les.
well,
And
he has. That's just it. Faith alone is not enough.
faith,
He said that,
we're supposed to blindly believe in a force
but he
we can't
has.
see. I've tried, my children, I took them to Sunday school. They were love church until they got to a certain age, and then they started to question it. And my kids are smarter than me. Well, maybe not, but nearly. And it was my son that pulled up the contradictions to me. And I said, "Look, son, I'm the same. I do get what you're saying. I don't know the books of the Bible, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus. I used to, but I'm not schooled in the Bible, Les, and I don't profess to be. I know a little teeny weeny smidgen that I remember from years ago. That's all. But I'm trying to apply what I see scientifically happening now. And I see catastrophe, cruelty, greed all over the world, and unnecessary as well. Unnecessary. A pleasure in cruelty, murder for hire. And I just think that, that it's got so out of hand that maybe God should say, these people, my children, my beloved children need their parent, and he maybe show himself so that people will have faith and they'll start to change their ways. But unfortunately, I don't. I know there's little miracles that happen every day. The miracle of birth, and a sick bird gets better. He's got to show himself. To me, that's the only thing that he can do. And these terrible, terrible atrocities that are happening naturally through viruses, through bacterias that are not man-made, that are Mother Nature.
I'm not saying man was in a lab creating these things. What I'm saying is
There are some men.
all the actions man has made
Mhm.
up to this time led to all this stuff.
I agree with you on that.
So it's
There are some man
man-made.
there are some man-made things. There are some.
Mhm.
You're absolutely right.
And there's plenty of cures for some of that stuff out there, but it's the governments will not let it out. It's the
uh
pharmacology, it's the pharmaceuticals because they will lose money.
Let me tell you a clause that the military has now, right? Some of you won't believe me, but I'm telling you the God's honest truth. Do you actually know they have protocol against zombie outbreak?
Yes.
Right. That is terrifying in itself. That's absolutely terrifying. I don't know whether it's zombies in the supernatural or it's just mindless lunatics that are going to run out with, knives and chop up babies and dogs and cats and women and whatever. I really don't know, but there's protocol.
There's protocol for a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A
But
lot of things.
it's going too far.
Well, and why do you blame it that on God?
I'm not blaming it on God. I am not.
Well, I'm just saying,
What I'm saying is maybe now it's time for God to actually show himself. And I don't mean through rainbows and the birth and that I can explain that away with biology, um, the miracle of birth. And I can explain that about plants to you and say, well, it's not really a miracle. It's actually it's science. It's This is what happens. But I mean,
you forget I know a little bit about science myself.
I
I'm not
know
exactly
that you do. I
okay.
understand that completely. But what I'm saying is people don't have hope, Les. I have a bit of hope that I'm right and there is a God there. I really do. I just think that we've lost hope as a human race. There are a lot of good people, but there's more bad and there's more to fear now than what there is to actually worship and look forward to. And these atrocities, these aren't happening just in poverty-stricken areas, Les and
I
famine.
know.
These things are starting to hit the Western world.
I know.
So it's like, no, 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 no. If I was like this magical, wonderful God that loved my children so much, I'd put my hand down and cleanse the world of that specific one and say, here I am, believe in me. But I'm not. I'm not even a qualified research scientist anymore. So, I'm fucked. Nothing I can do except complain.
Well,
Reason
stay
why.
gold. Hello. Well, like I said, um, you're the opposite, total opposite from me. I love a good discussion. I really do. And but this is so way to the right of what we were originally talking about.
Yeah, that's how
But
I feel.
it's fun to have this discussion though. I mean, I like to banter with people like this. I really do. I really, really do.
Many people say, if this is it, I'll be glad to get away from it. You hear me saying many times, release the super virus. I'll be glad, let wipe us all out. Many, many, many people say that now. That I'll be glad to go from here. Don't resuscitate me. I just want to go. And a lot of people, I don't feel that we've got a world worth fighting for anymore, and I certainly don't believe we have a humanity worth fighting for anymore. It is.
Oh, see, I will always have faith in humanity.
I'm glad that you do. I'm glad there are some people like I'm very cynical now, very cynical, not skeptical, cynical.
Look, I'm not going to say that I haven't come close
Hmm.
to saying screw it, mankind's not worth it, but I have come close to that. But I still have fun. I still have faith in humanity and stuff like that. I really do. I've come close many times, whether it be on a smaller level or a larger level. Um, it does. It makes you wonder, but that's where I always get snapped back into my faith
Hmm.
every time.
Your faith's strong. Your faith's strong. I don't know what mine is, but I know that there's a lot of things piss me off.
There's a lot of things that piss me off too, and I realize that's man-made stuff, though. You know, it's like I said, I don't think man. Although sometimes I wonder, but man hasn't sat in the lab and said, okay, let's do this, this, and this, and this. I think it's all the actions and choices that have been made up until this point that has caused a lot of what's happening. Now, God said, you will reap consequences. You have the choice, but you can reap them. Now, granted, there's a lot of innocent people getting hurt.
Mm,
Granted, I'm not going to lie. I agree with you on that. There's a lot of innocent lives hurt,
mhm.
but there's always a reason for everything. There's always, always. And you may not see it then.
I know. You do not need to say this to me. I know. I know exactly what you mean. I know.
Well, I know you're talking about your child, but I'm also talking about on a grand scale. Just like you see one little piece. The thing of it is, you need to step back and see the whole thing and realize that this viral stuff, this all this infection and diseases
Hmm.
has to come to pass for this guy Lucifer to come in and declare himself God.
I do.
Because
I don't know whether
see,
I.
you're shaking your head no, but you see, I know more about this than you do.
I
This
know,
is where
but
I know my shit.
I understand that, and I'm
And
just
what I'm
saying.
saying is because it's part of the great deception. Because the one thing in the Bible in Revelation it says those taking the mark of Cain is the only unforgivable sin. God will not forgive this, and there's a reason why. And it took forever to figure it out, and it was the messing of the DNA. That is the one thing God has not forgiven, which is what brought about the first flood. And GC, stop saying Fight Club.
We're not fight.
Um,
We fight like this on the phone about things too.
but um, and so, which is what caused the first flood, is messing with the DNA of everything, of everything. So God said, we're going to wipe the split slate clean.
Mm,
We're going to wipe it clean. Well, now what'll happen is we have all these viruses and diseases, and the Antichrist will come out of the temple as declaring himself God, that he is God. And one of the things, where they say take the mark is, and that's the only way you can do commerce and all this, but it's because you have taken something like a vaccine as part of the Great Deception, which is I pegged this years ago, um, to get eradicate diseases, and that's what they're going to use to kill the Christians who know not to take the mark. They're going to use that excuse as Christians because we're unclean and that we have to be eradicated in order to save the world from diseases. When in all actuality, you know, it's something completely different. And so there you go. You
I don't.
know,
I know what you're saying. I just don't know whether I believe that or not.
well, see, and that's what I'm saying. It's just what you believe, although I clocked that years ago. But hey, what can I say?
I
Yeah, red freckles, hello. So,
we'll just have to see. We'll just have to wait and see.
well, yeah, it's always a wait and see kind of thing. But and we all this just proves that we all think differently. And I know when to cut my losses. I will never change your mind, and you will never change mine.
No,
So and that's good because that way people can hear both
I don't
sides.
want to change anyone's mind. That's why I don't get involved in these conversations and try to steer clear from it because I do have such strong opinions. And on one hand, that I do believe, but on the other hand, I'm more. I'll speak more in a scientific level than I will in an emotional Christian level. Because as I say, we glamorize things. It's glamorized so that people will follow it. Oh, that's a lovely story. Well, if yeah, that's for me. Like you say, it's a lot different. We're a lot different than what's actually written. So there's just so many contradictions and fears
There's
that.
not contradictions. That's what I don't understand.
Well,
There's not. But
well,
what's contradictory is the man-made shit.
mm,
That's what's contradictory is the man-made stuff, honestly and truthfully.
I don't.
But then again, but we're gonna go ahead and stop that here because I want to save it for another night.
Well, the last time we did this, we were on till 11 o'clock in the morning, my time, if you remember.
No, I don't know. Sarah Smiles, hello.
We
Oh,
did,
no.
but we were up that morning. There was only one woman left in the chat room. Remember when we
Oh
got into that?
yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I remember now. That was a long time ago.
It was
Yeah.
a 5 or 6 hour stream. It should still be up.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's still up.
Hmm.
I think I got rid of the ones that I got knocked for. I said, well, then what's the point? Do you know that almost I was on my videos. I went in there and it's like almost every one of mine got knocked. As
What do you mean
soon
not
as
got
the
us
stream ended, they were
right?
on not suitable, not suitable, not suitable, not suitable. I was like, how the hell can this not be not suitable? May Marion, hello. Um, can this not be not suitable? So I went through and I was like requesting a manual review for everything.
Mm,
And then finally, they finally took it all off and only two stuck. One was a copyright infringement, and that was my fault.
hmm.
And the other one was not suitable, and it was I think it was the Fred and Rose West murders was not suitable. But it was like every murder mystery I've done it was all flagged, and I had to go through the list, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then it just turned out everything I was putting out, they just automatically not suitable, not suitable, not suitable. And I had to sit there and go through every one of them, request a manual review. Well, thank you, Sarah. That's awesome. So
I wonder why they said the Fred West one wasn't suitable.
I don't know, but I think the Anita Kobe wasn't either. No, I think they said it was.
All we did was present facts. There was nothing that was made up. There was actual facts presented. So I
It's
don't know why they've said that. And there's documentaries about those that are actually on YouTube at the minute.
Yeah, I requested a manual review and it's stuck. They said nope.
Do you know what? The sooner somebody comes up with a platform that can rival this, these fuckers have had their time.
Sarah
It's
Smiles says to tell Bam said hi and love ya.
hi, sweet pea. I seen your picture on um, Instagram, the one that you done with the Urban Decay. I love that, Sarah. That is your look. You should stick to that look every day because you suited that. You and your skin looks fucking flawless. In fact, any more pictures as nice as that, you're getting blocked because I don't want to be
Mm-mm.
rivaling with you.
Mm-mm.
I'm only joking. Sarah, look me up on Twitter or have you got me on block? Supposedly my friend and I never bloody hear from her. Make her feel guilty there. Give her some welly. I can't see that. I love Sarah. Any of you ladies interested in makeup and its application? Sarah Smiles loves makeup. She's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. One of the nicest people on YouTube. She was the very first subscriber I had outside my own family and friends. And I've all the time in the world for the girl. And there you go. I'm not saying no more nice about you, madam. That's it. Your nice is used up for this year.
Uh-uh.
I would never block you, Bam. Oh, I don't know. I've not heard from you for an age. You just look
Uh-uh.
at social media. Good excuse.
Ooh, Stay Gold's power was out for 3 days. Damn. Urban
Urban
Decay
Decay,
is makeup.
Urban Decay GC. Yes, Sarah buys that. I can't afford to buy that, so she makes me feel bad. Showing off.
Mm.
She rubs it in. Look what I got, Bam, and you didn't.
Uh-uh.
I've already taken the piss. Yes, she's got the new cherry palette, and I'd like that myself. I'm going to wait till they do the dupes, but she used it the other day, and her makeup's absolutely out of this world. She looks stunning. She's a lovely looking girl anyway. And the makeup just makes her better.
Why was your power out?
Decay sounds like the dead. Yeah, it started off as a grungy makeup. It was like all that grunger. And then they started to do the naked palettes, and they've just taken off from there. But yeah, they started off as um grunge. Okay, Messenger. I'm glad that you seen that.
Yeah. Greggy, my sister gotta go vote in the morning. Yes, go vote. Go vote. Go vote. You have a good night, Greggy. Thank you for coming in.
Yes, Greg. See you next time. Have a nice night.
Oh, from a storm on Friday. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, but I bought something from a 4x2 box, and only the on tins of fill. The rest was paper filling. Oh. Jerry says the Democrats need to win the House and Senate to reign in that douchebag Trump. Yep. Night, Les and Bam. Night, night, all.
Good night. Sweet dreams.
Good night. Good night. No, I tell you what. Yeah, I'd tell everybody to vote. Oh, I don't want to go vote, but I have to.
Is Cynthia still in? Is she still in chat?
I don't know. Steve
Maybe.
Old went to sleep earlier. I don't know if she's still here or not. I really don't. Last
That's
I heard, she had to go. The baby was crying again. Clark, hello. Turn off my notifications when I go to bed, and I swear I often forget to turn them back on. But I adore my beautiful Bam Bam.
Not too beautiful tonight, but thank you so much. You make me feel great. I feel absolutely fucking terrible tonight, but you know what? I love you guys, so I won't let you down. I think it's just a wee bit better that we appear on camera, even though I'm feeling dreadful. I know I asked that night. I said, what would you rather when we're on, we talk to you? Would you rather a picture? Would you rather see us? And they said, we don't care what you look like. We would rather talk to a human being. So I try to be on camera. When I put my picture on, it's because I'm rolling a cigarette.
Cynthia said, "Yeah, she's here."
Is Cindy there?
Yeah.
Cindy, can you do me a favor, my love? If you would write on one of my videos, then I can send you like a friend thing from YouTube or Google Hangouts or something. But it means that we can talk. We can talk to each other apart from just being in the chat room, please. You don't have to if you don't want to. I just like to add you because I like you. I'm quite fond of you. You see, you're my new friend.
Intense, hello.
Hello, Cindy. How are you? And all girly things.
Uh-uh. Uh-uh. I really enjoyed you all discussion tonight. Why can't everyone have a respectful conversation? Love you both, said Julie Brown. Aw, thank you.
Very much. It's because Les and I have respect for each other. We do argue. We don't bicker. We will disagree on things, but we can be in mid disagreement, and it can be polar opposites. But we don't lose sight of the fact that we are friends.
Yeah.
Wouldn't like us to agree all the time. I wouldn't like that. It'd be boring then if you just agreed on everything.
Well, and you don't nasty chat. There's no reason for me to say that kind of stuff. I don't get into that. I don't like that.
Like what, Les? What is it?
Oh, she said, and you don't nasty chat. And I said, I don't
No,
do that. No, we don't always agree.
we don't agree on most things, if you think about it.
No, we don't,
You know,
actually.
you let me rant and rave in here sometimes, and I know that you're sitting there thinking, I would slap your arse if I were stood beside you. You know, I know that sometimes, and vice versa. But we have a good, we, we're friends. We've been friends for a few years now, and
Yeah,
we respect each other's opinions.
yeah.
I would say. Well, I feel like that. My own personal opinion. I don't know how Les feels about me, but I feel that way about her.
Yeah, and I remember downtown Julie Brown back in the day with MTV. I remember that. Yes, it would be boring if we agree. Yeah, it would. Tell Bam I love her too, and I commented on Pixie Moo Moo.
Ah, okay. Thank you, Cynthia. I'll find you, and then I'll be able to add you, and we can we can talk. Between ourselves. Um, nice one. Thank you for that.
I wish I could have two people on through the OBS. I mean, I could, but nobody would ever see you. It wouldn't switch back and forth.
Or who wants to come on?
I would like to have you on there because that way I can do more things with the OBS. I can just start slapping crap up there.
Oh,
So, well, somebody's calling.
I don't think Cynthia, you're subscribed to me.
Bam Bam Big Mouth. Well, why don't you type in there?
Yeah. No, she's already talked on a. There, she's
One
talked,
second.
so I can get her that way.
Yeah. Hello, you're on with Les.
Hey Liz, this is Ace.
Hey, how are you?
I'm not good.
What's wrong?
Oh,
Well, with everything going on since March
Yeah.
and having a full plate with that,
Yeah.
and then I found out a couple months ago that my dad has cancer.
Wow.
So they're having to deal with that. And then today I was told by my mother that she has a brain aneurysm.
She had a brain aneurysm?
Yes. And she's going tomorrow to have it looked at to find out how big it is.
Okay. Wow. Alrighty.
She's been suffering of really bad headaches and stuff and vision problems. And it is um, just about at my limit.
Dad. I'm so sorry. It's intense, Lisa. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I'm being sued.
For what?
Because I had to let my car go back in March after what everything happened. And
Yeah.
they're suing me for the rest of the money.
Well, they have to sell it first and see how much they're out.
They already sold the car and they're wanting $3,400.
Damn.
Yeah, I've already been presented with papers.
Damn. I am so sorry, sweetheart. shit. And when does that other matter? When do you take care of that other matter? What was it postponed to?
February 26th.
I am so sorry.
Yep. I can't go out and get a job. I can't help with anything. I can't do anything till all that blows over, and now I got all this going on.
Why did they say they postponed it?
Because these people have these sworn statements that they said that I've done these things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And they put on record that I've said and done these things. So the longer they wait, the more likely it is that they can't remember their for exact words.
Mm-hmm.
So then, if and when it goes to trial, if they say one thing, my lawyer can be like, wait, on such and such March of 2018, you said that he did this to you. Why are you saying this now? And I was like, okay. And I asked him, I said, well, what if they can remember just about word for word? He said, well, they still don't have any evidence.
That's true. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Jeez. I am so sorry, sweetie. I am so sorry.
Guys, do me a favor. It doesn't matter if you have little brothers, older brothers, little sisters, older sisters. It doesn't matter if you're an adult. It doesn't matter if you have children. Always, always, always tell the truth. And do not sugarcoat stuff, lie about stuff, because you can ruin someone's life.
Exactly. Exactly.
It doesn't matter if you're 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, 14 years old, 10 years old. Everybody needs to tell the truth. And don't make shit up, because you can really fuck up someone's life and put it on hold.
Exactly. Amen. Amen. I am so sorry, hon.
I'm going to get off here.
You don't have to. I'm here.
I'm just sitting here reading everything.
Mm-hmm. It's whatever you want to do.
I'll call you back later.
All right, hon.
Yeah, I'll just call back later. Bye, everyone.
Bye, hon.
Are we still on air? I got kicked off. We are? Yeah.
There are days I just wish I can just take him in and say everything's gonna be all right. But all because of a lie. All because of a lie. He is so. He's so devastated. Oh, because of a lie. It has literally destroyed him. Ruined
Lies
him.
are the worst things you can do to someone. They really are. You can't fight a lie, you know? You can't fight a lie.
You can't. How
No,
can
you can't. It's like rape of the soul to be lied to, lied about.
you?
You just can't fight a lie. You've got to wait. And the truth always comes out in the end, but at what cost?
Yeah, he's already ruined.
Hmm.
Tornado Girl, hello. I can't tell you what the lie is. That's something he has to tell. I can't say. But yeah, all because of a lie. Been through that shit. Yep. Oh, I know. Uh,
Lisa, I think that you've got to be subscribed to me, and if you speak, then I can send it. I can't send it unless someone's subscribed. Cynthia, if you look at that comment that you left on Pixie Mumu, I've just replied to you with the invitation. So if you go back to your comment on Pixie, the invitation's below your comment. I've just sent it to you, sweetheart.
mm-mm. Sorry, I'm just responding. uh, so sorry, Tornado Girl. I hate to hear that. Man, I'm telling you.
Yeah, bad night. Very sorry. So is there anything you guys in the chat want us to talk about?
I'll talk about everything. And I'll hold it together. Wow. Wow, Tornado Girl. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Wendy, there's nothing we can physically do to help him. Just stand by him and listen and talk to him. But I really do wish that I could just go down there and get him, bring him here, and just say everything's gonna be all right, dude. Dead serious.
Importance of these kind of channels, okay? Because sometimes there's people that use them for a bit of company at their own discretion, and to other people, they're a lifeline. And that's why it's important to try not to lie, even if it is a white lie. Try not to do it because I'll tell you fast. My cousin used to run a Facebook page, and she had me on it as an admin. And this lady said, could I send you a message, Bam? And I said, yeah, sure. So she sends me a message and she said, I don't think people can see me. They're not talking to me. And I said, well, I seen you. And she said, it's very hard for me to see. I'm blind. I've only got, a very little bit of sight. And she used a magnifying glass. And I said, oh, wait, give me your phone number and I'll call you. So I rang her up and she was an elderly lady. And she lived on her own with her cat.
Mm-hmm.
And her son would have popped in and out to see her once a week, but she was widowed and, blind. And this little Facebook group was a little private group for people from Belfast and ex Belfast patriots. This was the only lifeline that she had. It was the only company that she had, and she started to cry because I picked up the phone and talked to her. She'd not heard another human's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, I'm nearly in tears myself. I'm trying to keep strong, and I got everybody in a admin chat, and I'm like, what the fuck, this poor woman, and blah blah blah. You know, respond to her comments because she just wants to know that she's not alone in the world.
Yeah.
And that year, Christmas card dropped through the door, and it was all big, 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 big scrabbly writing on the front of it. And she said, "This has been the best few months yet, and it's all thanks to you. And everybody talks to me now, and such is popping round for a cup of tea, and they're taking me to this optician, and I might be able to have this cataract move." Such a small gesture changed her life. So that's why these things are important. And then people might say, well, it's not drama and there's not fights and blah 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 blah. But for some people, it's a fucking lifeline. That's why
Yeah.
they're important.
Yeah. Tornado Girl wants to know if you're Scottish.
No, I'm not. Nope. I'm from Belfast originally. Gotcha, we are not connected. Nice one, saying thank you. I don't have outside contact with anyone. YouTube is my link. We're online. Les is an open chat for anyone. Sometimes I pop on and off, and if you've got any requests of what you'd like us to speak about, do feel free to ask. You see, there we go. There's a typical example.
What?
It's true. I don't have outside contact. Wendy, I'm very sorry to hear that. I wish that things were different for you, but at the minute, you've got 43 new friends. So stay around here.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Connie Baldwin, hello.
Hi, you, Connie.
Do it. I'm nowhere near as depressed as I was before I started coming in here. I've laughed more in the last a month or two than I have in 2 years or more. Oh, awesome, Clark. Awesome.
You see what Wendy's just said?
I'm reading it. I'm okay with things to go. I enjoy chatting on here and I have met some wonderful people. Yeah. Speak about butts, Bam.
No.
Uh,
Things
yes,
like
and then Tornado Girl said yes. I then heard Belfast say yeah. May
it's
Marianne, YouTube is my lifeline too. I listen, Bam. Inbox me anytime you want. Connie said, and for those of you in chat who are in the same way, reach out and talk. Clark says, and I've even picked up the phone and called in. That's not me at all. I'll get you to call in again, Clark. You watch.
So, Wendy, what do you like to talk about? What's interesting to you, or are you just jack of all trades? Is there anything that you specifically enjoy talking about? Cats, dogs, horses, food, makeup, murder, mysteries?
Yeah, aren't we supposed to be?
Yeah, I thought I was
originally what
talk
when I
about
told Bam, I said so. People were asking about the murder mystery, and I said, well, when Bam goes back, we can talk about some. When Bam gets in here, and here we got onto a totally different subject.
that was your fault, Les. I'm banning you from my room here. Cynthia, kick her out. Kick her, boot her. She's banned. Had enough of her. She's a fucking nuisance.
Stay Gold said. I've called in. Les yelled at me. I didn't yell at you. I give you your own advice back to you. I actually thought about you the other day. I'm not kidding you. I actually thought about you the other day. I said, I wonder how busy she is.
Murder mystery lover. And I'm an avid crafter. Ooh. And you've just made wonderful. Well, I would love to see some of your craft sometime. I would love to see what you do. Maybe you'd like to come on Les's panel sometime and you could show us some of your work.
Yeah, I'll just tell me send her the link, but she has to be on my Twitter.
Yeah, you gotta add Les on Twitter, and maybe you could show us what you're doing.
I can call in Les and we can gobble gobble gobble.
What kind of?
Barry actually writing. That's what I thought.
Well, now, Wendy, let me tell you a bit about myself. I'm after somebody that can make me a beautiful scarf in black that looks like bat wings. I
Oh,
seen this
geez.
thing you see on
She
internet.
don't need bat wings.
Shh, you just be quiet or you're getting booted from my chat. And this is in black. So I went to my friend who is absolutely, you want to see her work, it's out of this world. And I said, could you do me this? She says, I can't. She says, because it's black, I can't see it. She says, it's the only color I can't knit in. And my other friend went back to work, so she doesn't have the time. So, hint, hint, hint. I would just love it if somebody would make me a demonic
She
winged
don't need no
black
bat
knitted scarf.
wings.
I do need it. Shut up, Les.
She don't need it.
Do you want me to tell you how much you're going to like Griffin? You're going to love it. He came into me and he said, have you got any angel wings? And I'm like, no, son. And he goes, for fuck's sake. And he stormed out because he wanted to go to a Halloween party and they were supposed to be wearing angel wings. And he took the hump at me because why would I have angel wings? Why? Do you know what I mean?
He just likes to think his mom is actually
A good person? No.
yeah. Yeah, shut up, Les. Clark. Great, now you got Clark telling me to shut up. Really?
Wendy, that would look awesome. Yes, Wendy, it would. Thank you. Agree with me.
Stigold has fairy wings. Is that the same as angel wings?
I'm an angel with a broken wing. That's what I am. And I've got some of my feathers, I plucked out my old feathers with stress.
That is so wrong. Well, those would work, fairy wings. Hell yeah.
Bam, I can see. You can sew. Oh, well, feel free if you want somebody to model your bat scarves. I'll be very happy to do it. I'll be very happy.
Well, damn, I was just listening to you just started yapping. I'm talking to myself, by the way. Next time Clark calls, I'm just going to have to hit the FU on her. Seagull wings. Oh,
as long as they're black, I'll wear them.
Oh my God.
I don't know why Griffin had the idea that I would have angel wings.
He just probably thinks his mom is an innocent little bird.
He does. Well, that will probably be by the way I present myself. As, quite angelic and, quiet and nobody knows that I'm around.
Yeah.
To say, very shy. That's me.
Well, I find that I'm the only one who ever agrees with me, says Wendy.
Yes, I have that problem too, Wendy. Sometimes I disagree with myself. Sometimes I fall out with myself. Sounds like a cool challenge to me, Bam. Let me see what I can do. That would be wonderful, Red Fred. If you have there was one of them on, oh God, what is it you call that site where people sell their own things? It's not eBay.
Etsy.
Etsy, that's it. There was an Etsy shop and she had this beautiful, it was done in chenille. So I contacted her. She said, "Oh, it's not for sale, but I sell the pattern." And I'm like, "Great, I can't fucking knit. I were never able to do anything like that." So that were me stuffed. And as I say, I asked my mates, I were prepared to pay for it because it would be hand knit in chenille and it would be something no one else would have. But of course, one had to selfishly go back to work when I were knitting a scarf, and the other one can't knit or crochet in black, so I were stuffed. I'd love to be able to craft, but I don't have fingers for it. I've never been able to do anything like that.
My mom and my sister are so good at crafting like that.
Mm-hmm.
They truly are. I just never. I took after my dad. I can work with wood and stuff, and I can work with my mind, and that's about it. Chris, hello. Chris is on luncha. Muncha. I'm going to try to get some sleep. I'm sure my words, way I write and talk to people, carry on. What? When I leave, love to you all, huh? Well, Lisa, you have a good night, and I don't understand what she wrote there, but Stay Gold makes so much stuff.
Yeah, good night, Lisa.
But if I go look on Etsy,
Don't pick.
I can make a shiv out of a fan blade. I made a shiv. Yeah, I made a shiv out of.
Gee, stop your violence.
I mean, really.
As if we know anything about those things.
Oh.
Wendy, I love the soft chenille. I don't know. I think I know what eyelash is. It looks like it's eyelashy. I think I know. I love the soft chenille. I love that.
Chenille.
I take morphine and it makes my skin quite sensitive, so I'll react against wool somewhat. But I'm fine with chenille. And I thought, oh, this will be great. But my hopes were dashed. I think actually Les got to them and said, don't fucking make it for her. Let her do without.
You know what?
Would do it.
Poor Bam. It's all about Bam.
It is all about me in my own world.
You can make soap from dead people. I don't think so, Stay Gold. Really? I really question you sometimes. She also asked if I had overnight company. Said no. Didn't tell her I was having phone sex. Forgot my bedroom window was sent to her patio. She must have been sitting out on porch. Oh God. I really question Stay Gold sometimes.
Well, how long have we got left, Les?
What?
How long have we got left?
For what?
On here.
As long as you want.
Right.
Because I really don't feel like doing any work. But I've got to. I've got to do something. I got to finish this ASMR, which I really thought I'd get out today, but it didn't.
Shall I run a quick murder story by them?
Sure.
Right. Can you give me 5 minutes to pour a cup of tea out and then I'll do it? Have I got
Go
time?
ahead.
Pardon?
Sure, go ahead. Let's do a murder mystery.
Well, it's not going to be a mystery. It's going to be solved murder.
Oh.
Perpetrators in prison.
Yeah, well.
Give me 5. Give me 5 minutes.
Well, however long, shit, yeah.
Oh, God. What? What did
Waited
you say?
this long. I've only waited 3 hours. What the hell?
Fuck off. What were you that went to...
Oh, my God.
Don't blame me, Doc. Don't blame me. Blame me on what I do, not on what I do.
Oh, my God. She's sitting here talking instead of making her tea. I'm telling you.
It's great to have a normal working back, isn't it?
You know what? I had to go make me some hot chocolate.
You can wait till I get back and you can make your hot chocolate.
Wendy, why are you banned from your own kitchen? Yeah, I think I'll go make me some hot chocolate.
Guys, if Les talks about me, please tell me.
Oh, jeezy cow.
She starts bitching about me. Make sure somebody gets it all written down.
Oh, good God. I'll screenshot it and send it to you myself.
Yeah, that's probably what you would do.
Oh, you have falls. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll make me some hot chocolate and a sandwich. Because I've had 2 tacos today, and because my order got messed up. So I'm kind of like really hungry now. I'm going to bed. I will tell you, Bam, for sure, hon. Clark, you're going to bed. Really? You stay up, me till 4 o'clock in the morning. What is this? Oh, you can't carry anything either. I understand. Oh, I know why. Because it's a murder coming up. That's why. And Grissom, hello. He's like, okay, I'm really going now. Okay. Yeah, I know, Clark. Never till 4 a.m. I know. I know. I know. But yeah. I had a slice of key lime pie and a junior cheeseburger deluxe. What kind of diet is that? Oh, mine. Clark says I got an appointment in the morning. Yeah, don't forget to go out and vote, everybody. It's warm here. We are supposed to have bad weather, and I have to vote. I had to vote too. Clark says the doctor and a judge. I told you about this ass-kicking contest you're in. You're going to hurt somebody. I had to go take my camera and set it out on the porch for a half hour. It's raining. Use my own effects. Oh, yeah. I'd be excited if it was a Judge Judy, but he's a crotchety old geezer. I love me some Judge Judy. And I think she's retiring in 2 more years. I think. I forget what year she said would be her last year. She's not going to renew it. But then again, she's like, what, 73? But I remember when she came on, her first episode, I remember me and Ian, we were living up in Youngstown. And oh my God, she came on and I loved her from that day. And so when I came down home for a visit, because it was 3 hours north of here, and come down home for a visit, I was telling my friend Michelle about her. She's like, I never heard of her. I was like, she's going to be on. She's going to be on. And I showed her and she fell in love with her. So, Van Lufa. Hello. Now I want coffee. I have to leave at 6 to vote. And I got to nap at least. But, man, something hot to drink sounds good right now. I'm going to make me some hot chocolate when she gets back. I like it when she yells at people. Same here. Van Lufa. Hello. Yeah, I like when she yells at people and she calls them an idiot and stuff. You moron. You imbecile. You know how you know when your teenager's lying? They're moving their lips. You know how you know when a child is lying? They're moving their lips. Stable wants to be a sexy Judge Judy next Halloween. Have you seen her body? Oh my God. She's 70-some years old and still has a bikini body. It's fake. It's not all fake. It's not all scripted either. Ask Van Lufa. Her daughter was on there. They don't tell her daughter what to say or nothing. It's not scripted like that. They pay people, they pay actors, actors and actresses to be in the studio. Judge Marilyn Leon is sexy. Yeah, she is. She knows it. But she just don't like to hear it. It's not fake, GC. My daughter was on there. Yes, she was. Van Lufa was on my panel telling about it. It's not scripted. But they do have paid actors in the audience, which I don't blame her. If you lose your case. She explained that too. They only get like 10% of whatever's left over from the thing. If she orders like the return of items and stuff like that, then that's what they get. If she orders, say your judgment is $400, then that's exactly what they get. It was a real case. She took somebody to small claims court, and that's where she had to go. I met her in Aspen. She's funny as well. I heard that she said they pay what you're sued for. Um, they don't give, not on Judge Judy. They don't give you um that. Now, People's Court, yeah, but Judge Judy said we don't do that because then again, we would end up being a collection company. Is how she put it. They will pay for your way there. Like say if I had a case and I want to go on there, they would pay me my flight, they would pay my room and food. She says you 500, the show gives it to the loser to pay. No, they don't. Not with Judge Judy. Now with People's Court, yeah, but not with Judge Judy. And I'm telling you, Van Loofa's daughter went on there. Have you ever seen Judge Render? He's a hoot. Yeah, I've seen Judge Render. I had to go online to find him, but yeah. It was not Judge Judy they went on. Because I know with People's Court, now, whatever the judgment is, goes to whoever won that judgment, and whatever's left over is split. So Clark said, glad I waited. Good night, Bam.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
GC, like I said, People's Court does that. Judge Judy doesn't. In the 80s? Well, that was in the 80s. That was probably still People's Court because that's the only one I know of back in the 80s. Was People's Court with Judge Waltner. We used to come home right after school, and then we'd go over to my neighbor's house, or she would come over to our house, or the group of them. It just depends on how many decided. And man, I heard what's her face's mom would always have, for me, she always had sour cream and onion Pringles and a Coke. That was my snack. I'd have cookies or whatever, but we'd sit there down there in the family room and watch Judge Judy after school. So, I don't know. Now, Bam, you go ahead and tell your murder story or whatever, and I'm going to go make me some hot chocolate and a sandwich.
Go do that. So I'm going to do this one for Wendy, since this is what. Now, it's been a while since I buffed up on this, so I'm going to try and recall what I can. So in the early 80s here, there was a bloke called Dennis Nielsen, and he'd worked for the police. He didn't really enjoy the police service. He'd also been a chef in the Royal Navy. And he came out of the police force and he joined the civil service. And the civil service department he worked for was the department when you're unemployed and you go down and you sign your name each week and they give you a check. Well, that was the department he worked for. And these, homeless blokes in and around the gay area of London were disappearing. There was one young lad who was only 15 had disappeared without a trace. And anyway, Dennis Nielsen had lived in one property, and his landlord had said, I'm moving you out. And Dennis was not having it. And because he was a shop steward as well, he was able to fight his landlord in court, and he won. I think he got $1,000, and he also got relocated just a couple of streets away to, I think it was Cranley Gardens, 23 Cranley Gardens, or Muswell Hill. It was one of those were both his addresses. Anyway, he wasn't long moved in, came December, it was freezing cold, and the toilets in the residence got blocked up. There were other residents that lived in the house. So they rang for a plumber to come out, emergency plumber. And the plumber put his hand on and he pulled out a handful of meat. So he thought there's something not very right about this. He goes and he rings his boss. And he said, I don't like the look of this. I think that this is actually human remains. So because it was pitch black at night and it was the 80s and didn't have the technologies, the boss said, right, ring the police, leave it till the morning, 6 o'clock or whatever, get your son back round there. So the plumber went round 6 o'clock in the morning, went to retrieve what had been there, and the whole drain was spotlessly clean. Anyway, the police still came out. They put a pathologist down. The pathologist pulled out a decomposing hand. So Dennis Nielsen came home from work, and the police were asking the people of the residence, what had happened. And the copper said he just got this strange feeling about him. And he said, well, there's been human remains found in the drain. And Dennis said, oh, my goodness, how terrible. And the officer said, stop messing around and tell us where the rest of the body is. And Dennis said, oh, it's in a wardrobe upstairs. That's exactly how that is text, how the case was actually cracked open. So they went up to his upstairs flat, and in the wardrobe in his bedroom, there was an old tea chest, and it had the wrapped up body of a gutted human being in it. There was a human head boiling on a pot on the stove. They put him in the car. They were shaking, when they seen what they had. They put him in the car and they were driving him towards the police station. And the officer said, how many bodies are you talking about, one or two? And Dennis said, it's about 12. They nearly crashed the car. Anyway, got him into the police station. And what happened was he had been very psychologically damaged by the death of his grandfather. And it started this fascination with death from a very young age. He was absolutely fascinated with the workings of death. And as he got older, he realized he was homosexual. And he tried a couple of times, to make relationships with guys in the Navy. Well, of course, they weren't having it. And he'd failed at most relationships. He was very controlling, and he also had a terrible drink problem. But what had happened was he was going around the gay clubs at night, and, he was able to spot guys that were travelers and that were transient and that didn't really have that many people that would notice if they'd go missing. And he'd bring them home. He'd give them some rum and coke, and he'd put headphones on them so that they could listen to music. And while they're listening to music, he'd come from behind them with a tie and strangle them to death. And then he'd keep the body in bed, put the body in a bath and clean it. Then he'd keep them in bed, interfere with the body, sexually pleasure himself. And then when the body started to decompose, he would have opened the body up. And because he was a trained chef, he was also a trained butcher. He was able to open the body up, remove the innards. Sometimes he would have boiled the innards up on a pot on the stove. Other times he would have put it in plastic bags. And he said he remembered some of the street dogs, running away with the plastic bags with the innards of one of his victims. They were eating it. And when he had emptied the body of all the organs and he'd sewed it back up and put it under his floorboard. And he would take the bodies out until they were basically, just absolutely stinking, maggot infested, blah, 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 blah. Then he would cut the body up and have a massive bonfire out his back garden and then crush the ashes from the bonfire into the garden. And he had been doing that since he was actually on the beat as a police officer. He went down for 12 murders. There's one or two that are still, unsolved to this day that we think Nielsen was involved in. He's still alive, and he has an IQ of something ridiculous, like 160. But that was one of our big serial killer cases that hit here. And I was only a child when it happened. Like, I remember being young and my mum and dad hiding the newspaper. But I would always go and fetch it out, sneak it up to bed, and read about this. I always had an interest in this. Don't know why, but I did. And he was one of the very first big serial killer cases after the Moors murderers to hit Britain. He's still incarcerated to this day. He's still alive, but he had been basically killing for company, because he was unable to have normal relationships with people. He found having dead bodies worked as well for him as, a living, breathing person. And there was a couple of people that got away from him. They went to court and gave evidence about him, but it's a sickening case. It's the only one that's actually made me want to throw up. When he said about putting the innards in bags and the dogs eating them, that made me heave. I remember thinking, I don't think I'll be able to finish this book. But there was a book written on him by a journalist here called Brian Masters. It's called Killing for Company. And it's very, very interesting. But yeah, that was one of our very first serial killers that we're aware of here in Britain. And when it comes to the mystery, there are still one or two people that went missing around the time that Nielsen was active that we do think that he's responsible for. But he's spent from 1984, I think, he's been incarcerated, and he's still playing games with the police to this day. He still won't tell them everything. If you ask me, there's still more bodies out there. We just don't know where they are. But yeah, that's one of Britain's most famous serial killers. And there's also another one called Dennis Nelson. Now, he was another killer altogether, but Dennis Nielsen's probably the one that he's the most fascinating because he had such a high murder rate. I mean, personally, I would put it down to about 17. The years that he'd been active and the fact that he had these large properties to himself, and he was on the prowl at nights, and he was picking up transients. He knew what he was doing. He also killed a Canadian tourist, a guy called Kenneth Okenberg, I think his name was. He killed him. The guy came. He was leaving London. He was actually to get on a flight the next day, and he met Nielsen in a bar. Nielsen took him back to his flat and let him in. But yeah, there's your murder mystery for tonight. Dennis Nielsen from the UK. Fascinating story. And he was caught because he was flushing the body parts down the toilet. So there's one to think about tonight. The Yorkshire Ripper was a bad one too. Yeah. Peter Sutcliffe. Let me see. Bam, can tell normal serial killers stories. No, there are no normal serial killers. That's the thing about them. They might appear as quite normal, but there's that control thing in them that they get to a certain point and they can't control it anymore, and they've got to kill. Like I say though, they know what they're doing. It's not like the compulsion drives them. They could go straight into the police station and say, I've already killed X amount of people. Please stop me from doing it again. They do it because they enjoy it. Make no bones about it. No matter how much they sob and cry in court, they're sobbing and crying because it's been caught. If they were really remorseful, they would have turned themselves in straight away. And they know. And it's not like, they're so sociopathic that they don't understand empathy and what. They're smart enough to cover their tracks. So they know what they're doing, one, and two, they enjoy what they're doing. Thank you, Bam. You explained that well. You're very welcome. I've spent enough time with my nose stuck in these books and writing about them. I should do it at this stage, but thank you. In the Navy. You can have a ball in the Navy. Oh yeah, I know that's that song, isn't it? YMCA. Peter Sutcliffe. I'll tell you about Peter Sutcliffe sometime, Toy. I remember telling it on here. A friend of mine was actually involved in that case. She was walking her dog Zeus, and Zeus was a big Doberman, and he'd picked up this habit of leaping up on his back legs into the air and kicking you in the chest. So Karen Marriott, that's her name. You know, you look her up on Facebook. I'm sure she wrote about it on Facebook. But she used to take Zeus out early in the morning because of this kicking. You know, because he were kicking her and knocking her down. If you'd have come up to say hello to him, he'd have been standing there wagging his little stumpy tail. And then the next thing he'd have been up on his back legs, kicking you in the chest. He thought this was a game. And Karen's like me. She doesn't really like smacking them unless they really, really, really need it. So anyway, going back, getting distracted. Karen were taking Zeus for a walk very early this morning. It was very, very foggy. And it was so foggy, you couldn't see your hand in front of you. But because Zeus was a Doberman and Karen worked, there was no way that she couldn't walk him, or, you know, he'd have torn the house to pieces. So she took him for a walk. And as she was walking past this park, and this was the park that a couple of the Ripper victims were found in, she could hear these footsteps coming behind her. So she quickened up, and the footsteps quickened up as well. So Karen started to run, and the feet started to run behind her, and Karen stopped, and she said, "Get him, Zeus." You know, and this was a big, big, big Doberman. And Zeus, you know, he's snapping and snarling and barking, and, you know, he's ready to defend his mum no matter what. And the feet took off, but she got a glimpse of him. Now, obviously, this guy, because the fog was so thick, he didn't realize that Karen was walking her dog. He thought she was just a lone female. And he'd spotted her because he lived right adjacent to the park. So he was able to look out and he was able to see, you know, when these women were cutting across the park, or if they were going across the park into the night. That was where he started to pick up. Well, in the beginning, that was what he used, and to stalk and chase after women. But he went after Karen, like I say, and she said, "Get him, Zeus." So the dog started and he took off, but she got a glimpse of his face. And she said, you know, it was a good looking young guy. You know, this guy was in his 30s, and he was a pleasant looking lad, long hair, beard, and what have you. Anyway, she got herself home. She's very distressed. She takes the day off work. She can't possibly go into work after that because she thought that she was going to get robbed. That was what was on her mind. She thought that somebody was going to try and rob her. You know, here in Britain, it don't matter where we go. We always take our bags with us. We always have our handbags with us. And it was only whenever the Ripper case broke on TV that she recognised the guy. And it was Peter Sutcliffe that had come after her that morning when she was walking Zeus. If it hadn't been for Zeus, he'd have got her. And she had to give evidence in court. So there you've got a little bit of two tonight. I'll do a bit more research into Nielsen if you like. And we can use him as a subject some night. It's been a long time since I've done any work on Nielsen, but I'll be happy to go back, and Les might be interested in presenting that. And yeah, the Yorkshire Ripper toy. So there we go.
Interested in what? I got soup instead. I like my soup.
Present case of Dennis Nielsen or the Yorkshire Ripper. Sorry, I was swallowing painkillers there. You would never have guessed he was a serial killer. Well, that's the whole thing. You know, he was a good-looking guy. He was married, and he worked. You know, he didn't miss a day's work, and he was pleasant. You know, if you lived next door to him and you needed your light bulb changing, he would have come in and done it for you. And all along, you know, he'd murdered 13 women. He wanted to be the next Jack the Ripper. So she was very lucky that she had the dog with her that morning, though. Very lucky.
What do you think of the Jonestown massacre that happened? Tragedy.
It
Pure tragedy.
Absolutely.
And chicken noodle soup.
I agree with that, Wendy. I don't know anything about the Jonestown massacre. Um,
Jim Jones.
yeah, that's right. You mentioned him. I know of it, but I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm not familiar with how he got people, brainwashed and what his
Oh,
politics were and what. I don't know anything about him.
yeah, it's just a cult.
Mm.
And took him down there to Guyana. And when the going got rough, he made everybody eat or drink the Kool-Aid. And that was poisoned.
Was he would he have sexual relations with the women?
I'm sure he was.
Mm. Okay.
I don't know. I ain't
Yeah,
gonna say 100% for sure, but you know, don't they all? But then
most
again,
you're absolutely right. Most of them do.
but yeah, it was a tragedy.
And it
Well, looks
was.
like I missed the whole story of the murder, so let's do another
You,
one.
to be honest with you, Les, you wouldn't want to have heard that one while you're eating. I'll be perfectly honest, you wouldn't. But what I was saying to your chat room is maybe that's a story that you could present for one of our murder nights. Because I've glossed over the story, but there's a lot more to it. There's each victim and Dennis's MO and blah 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 blah. So he was Dennis Nielsen, one of the first serial killers that we were aware of here in Britain. I was only a child at the time, but I've studied him extensively later on in life. He's still alive too. So maybe you'd be interested in presenting that some night.
I hope he's still in prison.
Oh, he is. He's still incarcerated.
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
He's in one of the most secure units here. We have a prison that's inside of a prison. And it's really it's almost like the Silence of the Lambs setup because the bottom holding cell is for the most dangerous guys here, and Nielsen's one of them. A lot of the guards won't deal with Nielsen because they're frightened of him. There's something about him that scares people. I don't know what it is.
I'd be like, he's behind bars, folks. But if he ever escapes, ooh,
Yeah, but the prison guards have got to go in, to his cell and retrieve his laundry and what. But there's a lot of them. They won't go in on their own. They go in two by two because Nielsen just creeps them out. And to see him, he was a very ordinary looking guy. Tall, thin guy, glasses, short, dark hair, kept himself immaculate. He looked like a librarian. A gentle librarian. But he was one of the most dangerous men here. If Nielsen gets out, just count the bodies. Just follow the bodies.
I just hope he didn't hop plane, come to the U.S. and start in here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm-mm.
One of the worst ones, if you want to do it some night, is the April Jones murder. She was a tiny, tiny little 5-year-old, I think she was,
Oh
from
man,
from Wales.
really?
Hmm. And that is it's absolutely horrific. It's terrible, terrible. I'll tell you, my ex-husband he's one of I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. But I remember when she was missing, I rang the search team and I said, "Listen, my ex-husband," I said, this was he was top of the game at this when he was in the military. The search and rescue and hiding and finding hiding places. My ex-husband's brilliant at that, and he even offered to go up and join in the search. And I remember talking to him and I said, "We're not looking for a little girl, you're looking for a body now." I said, "I want you to be aware of that." And She was never found. I'm not going to tell the story, certainly not while Les is eating.
It didn't bother me.
Pardon?
It didn't bother me.
Well, it's a very nasty child murder, if you want me to go on. It's
You're
hard.
talking somebody. I used to eat my lunch next to a cadaver.
Mm. Well, do you guys want to hear it in the chat?
Well, I do.
Okay, well, you're the big B, so I'll tell you. It was an evening time here. I can't remember the time of the year, but I do think it was around this time, October, November time. Getting dark. There was siblings outside their family home playing. It had been open parents' night at school, and mum and dad had been down with little April, seeing her teacher to see how she was doing. Now, April is the closest thing that you'll see in human form to a fairy. She looked just like a fairy. She was tiny, 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 very, very light made up. A really pretty little 5-year-old kid. And she was born with cystic fibrosis as well. Anyway, she was doing very well at school. She'd been swimming. And there was her elder sister, her brother, and the next door neighbour's kids were playing outside. The next thing is, as far as I can remember, her brother came running inside screaming, "Somebody's taken April." So pandemonium erupts. The police are called, and this white Land Rover had stopped, grabbed April, thrown her into the Land Rover, and drove off. So this went worldwide straight away. You know, this was all over the news. Programs were interrupted. Everybody was told to be on the lookout for this car and this little girl in it. Anyway, it turned out it was a guy that lived in the area. And I think on day 3, I'm quite sure it was day 3. I think it was, it was about day 3. The choppers were up in the air, and they seen this bugger walking along the woodland. Now, where they lived in Wales, it was all countryside. It's absolutely idyllic. It's beautiful. But they seen this bugger walking, and he had a stuffed black plastic bag. He was taking his dog. Him and the dog, with his plastic bag under his arms, went into the forestry. They put the heat thing on him, and they were able to track him and the dog. And when he come out of the woods, they arrested him. You know, they just made this snap decision to arrest him anyway. When they got to his farmhouse, it was his car. You know, it was the same white Land Rover, and they got inside, and the place was absolutely furnace hot. It had an open fire, and this fire's been burning non-stop for days. The place stunk of bleach as well. So they brought him in. They knew something weren't right. They found clothes that were dirty. They lifted his dirty clothes and they took him into the police station. And his story was, he knocked April over on her bike. He picked her up and she died in his car, which wasn't true because there was witnesses. They seen him snatch her. And what he done was he got her into his house. He actually knew her parents, so she knew him by sight.
Oh, wow.
She trusted him. So he told her that he was bringing her to his house to see his daughter or something. And of course, little April, lamb to the slaughter, brought her into the house. He laid her down in front of the fire. He raped her. Then he cut her throat. Then he took her to pieces. And he was another one that was trained in the military for butchery and chef. And what we believe, okay, and I can't say too much, but we believe that he took her innards, put them in plastic bags. That's what he was throwing into the river. And he cut her up and he burnt her body in the fire. Now, the copper that was in charge of the investigation, he instantly had the fire smothered, you know, so everything that was in the grate and there would be no contamination. They were just going to suffocate this fire. And her skull part of her skull bone was found in the grate. But it was absolutely horrific. When they took his clothes in his underpants, they found April's blood inside his underpants.
Mm-mm-mm.
And he said it must have been he'd scratched himself after he'd knocked her down and she'd died in his car, and he picked her up, and he'd transferred the blood by scratching himself. That wasn't the way that blood was transferred. They knew what that blood was for, and it was when he'd raped her. They also got into his computer and they found what's known as monster porn. And it's like a cartoon images of a monster that'll rape little children.
Jeez. No.
Thousands of images, and we went up to grade 1 pedophile images. And then there was a whole file on April and her sister. So he was going after April or her sister. He was going to get one of those kids. That was planned. That was an actual planned, stalked and executed crime. So he's in jail for life now too. But that was one of the worst ones that we've had here. Like, that was absolutely horrendous. And we had the Holier Than Thou Brigade saying to the parents, well, why was she out at that time? She wasn't really out. They'd just come back from parents' evening, and she was with her siblings and the next door neighbours outside her own front door. But it was absolutely terrible. It was such a tiny little thing. How anybody could find a little child like that sexy, I really don't understand. But that was another very gory, horrific one. Very, very sad.
Mm-mm.
I don't remember his name, but I remember April's name, and that's what needs to be remembered. April Jones, not him.
Exactly. Mm-mm.
But again, he did such a good job of the disposal. And I do think if the coppers hadn't seen him going into the woods, he might have got away. There's that chance that this would never have been solved if they hadn't seen him go out that morning. But he executed that so well and so professionally. I do believe that he's responsible for a couple more unsolved crimes. Definitely. Some missing children. There's no doubt I would definitely put him up as a contender for them, because that wasn't a first time killing. There's no way that was a first. He got caught by luck, by accident almost, but it certainly wasn't excellent forensic work or him being sloppy. Even though the kids seen him, it was dark at night, so there was no way. They didn't know his name, so there was all sorts of things that could have been used as circumstantial, and he could have walked. But I think the police seeing him that morning with the bag and the body heat showing up from the dog and him, and then the disappearance of the bag, that tells me he was throwing away what he'd taken from inside her. He threw that into the river.
Mm-mm-mm.
And it'll never be retrieved now. Never.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah. That was dreadful. She was darling with the most sweet face. Yes, she was. She was the prettiest little thing, Wendy. She really, really was. Lovely little thing. But yeah, so there we go. We've had 2 murders for tonight.
Mm.
Short ones. We can go into Dennis Nielsen sometime if you like. Les can present it. I'm sure Les would find that interesting. But I'm just going through them fast. I don't have all the facts and what have you. I'm just going on what I remember. But yeah, I don't think we've had a serial killer here, a big serial killer case. From the cannonball killer. He were just an idiot. You know what? I'm not even going to bore you by talking about this guy. Just a fucking arsehole.
Aren't they all?
This guy really was. This was just a dislikable, horrible, rotten person.
Really?
Mhm. Running up the hallway with a dead body, shooting
Jeez.
in front of the camera, and then starting with his crossbow saying, "I'm the crossbow cannibal killer." Okay, mate, you're not going to go down in the history books. Dennis Nielsen is, but you're not. He wanted fame. That was what he wanted.
Yeah.
And I remember the helicopters everywhere, but it was the pink bows. Wendy, am I under the impression that you're here in Britain? Are you UK, darling?
Yeah, she is.
Oh, well, fantastic. I thought you were USA. Well, I'm sorry about that. Then you'll be very, very aware of the April drones killing then if you live here.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah, the mother got the tattoo. Do you remember she got pulled through the woods in the mill for that? They were all having a go at them for getting tattoos. I think at that point they were just grasping at straws, weren't they? I was 35 miles from where she lived. So you're up in Wales, beautiful part of the world. I love it. I was in Cardiff a few years ago. I was in the Hilton in Cardiff, and my ex-fiance came from Caerphilly. He came from Caerphilly in Wales, and we went back to his hometown so that he could see the boyos. And we went out in Wales, and we had a great time.
Well, well, well.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the how does England feel about the new Bohemian Rhapsody that came out?
Loves it. Loves it. I know Warwick very well, Wendy. I love Warwick Castle. I used to go to it all the time. Love it. We love the Bohemian Rhapsody. It's going doing very well. It's getting everybody that sees it loves it. I watched it 3 times today, and I burst into tears.
I need to watch it.
Oh,
I don't know how to work it, so I kept throwing hints all night.
world. He's out of this world as Freddie. And there's a bit in it at the beginning where Freddie stands at the bar and he looks round at the band and he smiles at them. And that's it. I just burst into tears, because
Mm.
it was just so real to me. I could see Freddie doing that. Oh, it's amazing.
Well, I read an
Oh,
article today.
pardon, go on.
It's called by Entertainment something
Hmm.
that there are some people who's getting ready to sue the movie company for not accurately portraying um, Freddie's life and death and shit like that. And I said, well, that's going to be awfully hard considering those that were closest to him was working on the film.
That's right. And his sister has given her blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Cash, that's her name. Cash has given her blessing, and she was involved in the movie. She was actually involved. So was Brian May and Roger Taylor. So
I was
good
going to
luck
say they were too.
with their suing. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, you see that young lad that's playing Roger Taylor. My
Mm-hmm.
God, he is out of this world. That guy really does deserve to be nominated for an Oscar himself because he is phenomenal. He has caught the essence of Roger Taylor perfectly.
Well, they're saying that they portrayed him with his AIDS. They didn't portray it correctly and portray his life with Queen correctly. And I'm like, I don't know how far these people are going to get.
It says at the beginning it's based on. It doesn't say this is a reenactment. It says it's based on. So you can change things.
Mm-hmm.
So they can try and fucking sue all they want. Brian May will put them in their places. I'd like to see somebody go head to head with that set of brains.
Mm-hmm.
Brian won't have that because they're basically behind the bloody film.
So I thought that was pretty stupid when I saw it. But I
Yes.
do want to see the movie, and I'm like, I mean, I don't know how many more hints I can say. Is I don't know how to work it. I want to watch it. Not to mention the remote is hidden on me because every time I touched it, I broke it. I'm serious. I don't know how to work it.
Well, I just loved it. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I loved it. I thought Rami Malek did the best job anybody could do of portraying Fred. And the rest of them, they just looked like the band. That you forgot that you were watching actors that looked so like them. The guy playing Brian May, my God, I think that's Brian May's secret son. He's the image of him.
Now the other dude, what's his name, Deacon?
John Deacon, yeah.
Now, is he like odds with the band? Because he doesn't seem super
No,
happy.
no, Deacon is a doctor. He's actually a practicing doctor. And I think
Yeah, I know, but
I think in the late 90s, after Freddie died, he retired. But he doesn't need to work in it anymore, because once you've been to the top with Queen, there really isn't any further that you can go. So I think, and they're still friends, but Deacon just kind of keeps a low profile now. He's married, he's happy, he had his practice and his business. I think he had an electrical firm too. I think he did. But no, he's not at odds with them at all. Still terms.
it just seemed like an interview that I saw of him because it's mostly just Roger and Brian,
Mhm.
and there's like almost none with him. And the one interview I saw was like, "Dude, do you have something against these guys? What happened?"
No, he just retired from the industry and he retired from Queen. So the decisions now are with Brian and Roger.
Well, they all kind of retired because they said they couldn't go on without Freddie. It didn't matter. They could not do a tour as Queen without Freddie. It was not going to happen.
They
That's
brought
what
in
they
a
said.
couple of guest singers, didn't they? They had they did a tour a couple of years ago. I can't remember that guy. He'd been in another band and he stood in for Freddie. Oh, and that American guy. He did the Rocky Horror Picture Show recently. Young guy. Oh, Adam Lambert. That were it. He stood
Oh,
Fred too.
well, I know the interviews, but then again, who knows how old these interviews are? They said they wouldn't do it, but then again, none of them had gray hair, so when they did these interviews.
Wendy, I
But
know we're talking about stars in your eyes. Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Freddie Mercury. Yeah, I know what you mean. And as for Brian May, oh, I know all about Brian May and his wife Anita. Yes, I know all about them. Shall I tell her the nice story, Les?
yeah, I know who Anita Dobson is.
Yeah. My son Griffin, I live in a country village, and he just started to be allowed out on his own. So he wanted to go to the shop on his bike, and I said no. He kept on, kept on, and kept on at me. And it's only like, a couple of minutes up the road. And our village is very enclosed, so it's totally safe. There's a police station in the village. So off he goes, finally breaks me down. So I'm outside on the drive waiting on him, and there's no sign off, and I'm getting quite concerned. I come in to ring his mobile phone. And as I'm turning around my drive to walk up, I seen this big car pull into the street. And I just carried on, came into the house. I heard the little feet running up the drive. Door flies open and it's Griffin. Hello, Mum. And I said, where are you? Where have you been? He said, oh, I'm sorry I'm late. I made a new friend. And I said, okay, well, and then I looked at him and my God, he looked like he'd been through the wars. He'd big scratched up knees and his elbows were scratched. His helmet was, obviously come round to the side. His little hands were all bloody and he'd been crying, and wiped his face with big bloody muddy fingers. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened? And he said, well, I had a slight accident. I fell off my bike. And I said, right. And he said, and my new friend got out of his car and they picked me up and he fixed my bike and he's brought me home. He said, and I sat on his wife's knee and she put tissues on. So she'd obviously got tissue out of her bag and she's licking the tissue, wiping his face. And I said, where is he? said he's out there. He's out there. And I could hear, a clunk of a boot and Griffin's bike were being sat on the pavement. And as I got out, the car had went up the street, so I had to turn to come back down again. And as the car went past the house, it was Brian and Anita. Fucking Griffin lying up at the shops, nearly killed. Now, Brian used to own a house in our village, so before anybody goes, "Oh, she's still alive." No, I'm not. He used to live up here. He used to go into our local pub. But yeah, Brian was Griffin's new friend. I've made a new friend, Mom, and it was Brian May. And they're probably thinking, what kind of mother is that? Letting her child to come out on a bike and he's fallen off, and of course Griffin's laid on the ground screaming his head off, and his chain had come off, and Brian fixed his bike and patched him up and brought him home. So yeah, I know Brian and Anita. I know all about him.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah. Lovely guy. I love Brian May.
Yeah, well, hopefully I'll be able to watch it within the next couple of days, so that way you and I can do a critique on it.
Ooh, definitely. Can you not get it up on your computer? Can you not just punch in on the search engine, watch Bohemian Rhapsody free online, and you should get links will come up on the computer that'll let you watch it on the PC?
Really? I don't know. Let me try it.
Yeah, try that. That's how I get on mine.
Oh.
Watch Bohemian Rhapsody free online. Chuck that in, let's see what comes up. Okay, guys, it's time for me to roll a cigarette. So back to my picture. The talking picture.
Watch Bohemian Rhapsody online free.
There you go.
I mean, no, it just came up. I just started typing it in, and wow.
So you get your eyeballs feasted on that. Have you seen it yet, Wendy? Have you watched the film yourself, and did you enjoy it if you have watched it? No, not yet, Bam. But I will later today. Yeah, doing what I'm saying to Les.
Snap.
Pardon?
No. Life was reviewed for all audience.
Just punch in, watch Rhapsody free online.
I did. I
was talking to not you.
Oh.
Have you got a link up for it, Les?
Oh, it did, and then it sent me somewhere else.
Right, that'll happen. Just keep clicking back to your original, the first one that you click on, and the film will come on eventually. There's lots of like fake pages come up on those sites, but you will get the film eventually. Just keep clicking back onto it until the original one that you clicked. There's 1, 2, 3 movies. They've got Bohemian Rhapsody on there.
Okay, I'm just gonna. You must create an account in order to watch the following.
No. Go off that one. Find another
I am.
Those are a fucking con. Oh, wait, what's happened here?
Go to Daily Motion.
No, that's another one, Les. I tried that one today. That's another one.
Okay, well, I only have 3 choices. Okay. Fox movies.
Punch in, watch Bohemian Rhapsody.
I did.
No, I'm giving you another one. Watch Bohemian Rhapsody 1, 2, 3 movies. That site and that link.
1, 2, 3 movies.
hang on a minute. Do you want me to send you the link in Messenger? Yeah, and then you just need to click on what I send you. Do you want me to do
Yeah,
it? Right, okay, here we go. I've got it.
because
Right, don't worry about it. You need to use the things. It's okay. Right, I've copied it and I'm going to send it to you in Messenger. Les. Okay, here she is. There you go, Doc. You've got a link for it.
Twitter, right?
No, Messenger. Not the Messenger.
YouTube Messenger or Facebook?
Facebook.
Oh, links don't work for me in there.
All right, I'll send it to you
Right.
on DMs.
Hold on, let me try.
Love of my life, don't leave me.
Okay.
You got it?
Yep. And all right, where do I go from here? So do I hit stream HD or download?
No, don't hit any of those. Just press play on it. It should be free.
It says open load.
Open load.
Come on, open load.
Right, hang on. I wonder if I can show you what right. Go to screenshot this and I'm going to send you a picture of what I've got.
Susan,
if you
hello, Miss Twin, hello.
If there's no picture where you just click in the middle and start the film, then try stream. Try doing that stream.
Oh, okay. I did add music browsing. What?
Okay, go back. Go into
all these steps.
No. It should be completely easy, Les. It should be the film's just ready to watch. The link I've sent you on my system, I just click it and watch the film. I don't have to stream or anything. I just click on a button.
I'm clicking the arrow in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And save big on walk-in tubs. What the hell?
Let Play the video on.
Okay, it finally did it. I'm trying to pause it now, but what? McAfee, are you sure you want to go there? Yes. All right, I need to pause it.
That's it.
I guess it's getting ready to play.
There you go.
There you go.
Yay! Thank you, Susan. You're right. I couldn't remember the name of those pop-ups. You're right. Couldn't get it.
Okay. I'm going to put it in the chat for people.
Yeah, do.
This is exactly where I am, folks, to start watching. That's just an ad. Yay. Yeah, thank you, Susan. Just click out of them. I did. I clicked out of the pop-ups. But there, I have something to watch tonight. Yay. Yep. Hopefully other people do too.
And we all watch Freddie Merc.
Freddie Merc. Thank you. Thank you, Bam. Thank you.
Welky.
So I can either watch or listen to it while I'm doing other things. I do got other things to do. I'll just print them off. That way I don't have to. On that site, it is great. Oh, are they all free on there?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's where I get all my movies from. I watch everything on there.
Really? Even the new releases, huh?
Brand new, yeah. As soon as they come out, somebody copies them. They're not like perfect, like what you see in the cinema. They're copied, but
Yeah.
they do you until the DVD or whatever Blu-ray comes out, and
Yeah.
you can watch them and enjoy them. I watched it back to back 3 times. I just could not get enough of it because I loved Freddie. You say I just loved him so much from seeing him at Live Aid.
Oh, get this. Saturday when the boys came. And Dante brought with him Chris and what's the other guy's name? Pete or something. Well, anyway, so we're sitting there and we're talking about Bohemian Rhapsody coming out the next day. Or, yeah, the next day, I think it came out the 3rd or whatever. It's Saturday we were talking about it. And Dante's like, huh. We're like, you don't know Bohemian Rhapsody? And he's like, no. So we all started singing different parts of it. Easy come, easy go. Sing a very lightly. We were just going, Mama, ooh. We were saying, oh, he says, oh, I know what that is. And he said, yeah, but they only had one hit. So between the three of us, we just kept going down the line. He said, yeah, I've heard of that one. You got to know We Will Rock You. Well, yeah, I know that one. We Are the Champions. Yeah, I know that one. I said, this thing called Love. And I was singing it. He said, yeah, I've heard of that one. And I was like, dude, that's all Queen. I mean, we were just going down a list. He's like, oh, yeah, they only had one hit, my ass. Mm-hmm.
Just they were brimming with talent, weren't they? They were just so talented, all of them.
Well, they certainly did it their way. Intense is going, ugh. So apparently he don't like Queen. Yeah, I have to love Queen. Yeah. And now I did have one of the Queen concert shirts when I was in high school. I forget who gave it to me. They were at a concert. They were older than me. I think I was a sophomore. No. I was a junior. And I think it was one of my uncle's friends that went to the concert or whatever. Well, he got one for me. So I'm here I am wearing it at school and stuff. And everybody called it, oh, you like queer, you like queer, you like queer. And I'm like, I remember just a few years ago, we were on the bus coming home from a meet and you were singing the queer songs. Freddie had that crowd in the palm of his hands at Live Aid. I think it's probably one of their best ones. Oh, you have a good night, Intense. Take care, sweetie.
Okay, good night, Intense. Yeah, he was amazing.
I wonder if I get in trouble for playing that online.
Playing what?
I could screen share that movie.
No, you couldn't. You'll get struck straight away.
Even before the movie's out?
Yeah, you get struck, definitely.
Yeah, but it's already on TV. I mean, on the movie. I mean, on the computer. It's already...
It's stolen, though. Somebody's nicked that. They went and recorded that and brought it out and uploaded it.
Well, yeah, but it's through a 123 site. It's not like...
All right, go on. Yeah, screen share up.
I don't want to take chance.
Because you'll get a strike.
Eric, hello. Well, let's see. What was I doing during Live Aid? Oh, yeah, I was drunk watching that. Dead serious. I was a senior in high school. I was drunk when that shit was going on. What I loved was Phil Collins did Live Aid in England. Then he flew over here and did Live Aid here.
Yeah. He got on Concorde, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He was talking to them live from the plane. Do you remember? Concorde, come in, Concorde.
Yeah, Phil Collins was a shit back then too.
It was a great lineup. There was Adamant, Spandau Ballet, the Boomtown Rats. Let me think who else. Duran Duran, they played. Status Quo, Phil Collins. There's just so many. Of course, Freddie.
No. You have a good night, Susan. Thank you for coming.
Yes, Susan, good night.
Yeah, I can play up to 15 seconds of the music. Yeah, Madonna. Pig Dog, hello. Yeah, Madonna. U2. God, there was all of them was on there.
Yeah, that's right. Bono, he went into the crowd, remember? He jumped off stage and went into the crowd.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
But that was I don't think they've had a concert like that since.
No.
That was like my time. That was the equivalent, and during my time, Live Aid during my time was the equivalent of Woodstock.
Yeah.
So, I don't know who all played in England, but I know who played here in the States.
Mm-hmm. Well, go on then. Tell us.
Well, I did. I don't know everyone, but the only thing I remember about Live Aid really was that anyone that was anyone in the music business in the past 20 years was there.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I remember. And like I said, I was drunk, but that didn't mean I didn't enjoy all the music and stuff. But that was my generation, my age equivalent of Woodstock. So, except this one was also televised. And then 190,000 people there.
It was fantastic. I tell you what, I'll tell you a funny thing, the weather had been crap that summer. It had been very wet right up until that day. And then the weather changed and it was really hot, sunny. Just a beautiful, beautiful day.
And then I know that what year was it that Freddie did his very last concert was in England somewhere?
93.
But where was it? I forget.
Nebworth?
No, I don't know. It could be.
Nebworth or Wembley?
No, it wasn't Wembley. I would remember Wembley. Well, anyway, that was his last one. And then, next thing you know, now I remember seeing him on TV and I said, boy, he lost a lot of weight. Not thinking anything. I was like, he looked good before. Why do you feel like he had to lose all that weight? And then he did that video, which I saw the making of and stuff. And I thought it was a nice video. I think it was his last one he worked on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the last one that I think he died a few days later after doing that video. But I thought it was nice that their album that released after he died was already shit that he worked on, and he wanted that released.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Stargazer, hello. How are you? But, well, anyway, we've been on here forever. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go. Yeah, he looked pretty bad in that last video. Yeah, but I just thought it was interesting that he worked up until he died. I mean, he was writing and everything. He was doing what he loved. But, I wish he had not wished himself done in at a young age, because he said, oh, I'll die before I get old. He's always said that.
If he'd have just hung on one more year, he stopped his meds. If he just hung on one more year, he'd have been entitled to the well, it's not entitled. He'd have been able to get the meds that Magic Johnson's had.
Yeah.
So he probably would still be alive today.
Who knows? Who knows?
It's such a shame.
No.
A great loss. A great loss to the music industry when we lost Freddie.
Yeah. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and go. We've been on forever, and we'll try to watch part of this movie. If not, I'll watch it tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always.
Pam, thank you for coming, and thank you
Well,
to everyone in the room and everyone who's been with us. So, I appreciate it.
yeah.
We've just been on almost 4 hours, so that's usually about my time. So, I hope everybody has a good night, and thank you again, Bam. Get
You're
some sleep.
welcome.
Get some sleep.
I will
And
do.
same with everyone else in here.
Lovely to
Good
meet you.
night.
Good night and bless. Bye.
Good night.